It's his.
We are live. Hello, everyone, fellow nerdsters. Welcome back to another episode of Nerdsters of the Universe. I'm Kerwin.
I'm Pizza.
And today, just another live of Nerd Talk. So, you haven't caught up on the Bad Batch yet.
I'm a couple. I might be a couple behind looking at the.
I think you're a couple behind. So, fair warning to everyone. There are going to be some spoilers for the newest shows that are out, Bad Batch, Loki, and them. You know, it's one of those that hopefully everybody has a chance to catch up on it. You know, Loki comes out on Wednesday, so if you haven't watched it by now, new episodes tomorrow, guys. Come on. Halloween, greetings.
Hey, Halloween, man.
Bad Batch came out Friday, but, you know, it's still been a few days, and we had the weekend, so. But, see, you're few episodes behind on Bad Batch. It's just because you're too busy watching other shows and movies, right?
Well, that and, you know, cleaning up my basement. So.
Yes, that too. Pizza lives in Pennsylvania, and as anyone around that area knows, there's been some storms going through, causing flooding and stuff.
Yeah, Hurricane Elsa went up the East Coast, and it was the first time in 4 years in our house my finished basement actually got flooded. So I've been cleaning up water boxes. Thank God I had a lot of totes on the floor, but I also had boxes down on the floor. So I got to see what the damage is to that. Some furniture down there, my man cave.
Things happen. Long time ago when I was living in Fulton, the house I was living in, it was a house, but they took the backside, I guess, which would have been like a kitchen area. They took the backside of it, they took and turned into like a studio apartment and rented that out separate. Well, all the laundry hookups were down in the basement, and the basement was external access. So you had to go around the front door and then walk around the house, around the front, the side, and then go to the back, and then go down the stairs to the basement, and that's where the washer and dryer hookups were. Mm-hmm. So that's where we had a washer and dryer hookup. And it had a drain for when it rained, that the water would drain out and stuff like that if it flooded.
Right.
Yeah, the drain got clogged one time.
Oh, God.
And I had just done laundry the night before, and I was tired and hadn't taken it back up into the house yet. So I was like, oh, no. Worried and everything. I walk out, I walk around, I go down, and the water is, I kid you not, waist high.
Oh, God.
It was bad. I go ahead and I push the door open, and there's my basket of laundry just floating on top.
Oh, jeez.
Nothing in it was wet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was completely dry, just floating on top.
There you go.
I was like, I'm not going to complain about that. And I grabbed
I've been doing laundry like crazy now.
Went and grabbed a broom and pushed the door open, you know, reached the broom in, grabbed it, pulled it to me, and took it upstairs. And then I looked over and, you know, I got a hot tester and tested the water, make sure, because, you know, when it's that high, washer hookups are down there.
Yeah, you'd be getting the zaps.
And it wasn't live. It tripped the breakers and stuff, so we're good on that. But yeah,
that wasn't before GFI or anything, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Nothing before GFI hookups and stuff, right?
Well, they were on GFI breakers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was lucky on that aspect. But
yeah, I've been doing laundry with all the towels and trying to get the floor dried up, and then I have to move literally because it's a finished basement, but I have storage in a section of it too. So I have to move literally everything from one side to the other, dry it, change it, push it all back.
Has your landlord at least brought you a couple dehumidifiers?
No, I had the door open today. Like, I can open everything. What got me is it flooded just long enough to do the damage, and by 6, 7 o'clock, after about an hour, everything had drained and everything was fine.
He still should have brought you some dehumidifiers, because like you said, your sofa and stuff down there, you put up some dehumidifiers, you won't have a problem. It'll suck that moisture right out and it won't ruin it. You let it sit and just try to dry it up, that moisture that it's absorbed will stick in it. You got to get some dehumidifiers in there, man.
I actually put an air conditioner and a fan and stuff down there with the shop vac I had, and started trying to get the humidity out of the room. At least trying that. I might try a dehumidifier, but it's gonna take some time tomorrow and tonight.
Oh, it'll take some time, but yeah, if you've got stuff down there that absorbs water, stick some dehumidifiers next to it. I'm not kidding. It'll suck it right out.
I have to try because I think Val had a box of paperbacks that I moved from one area to get it out of the way of the window that was dripping, and it kind of went. It's on the floor, like one of the boxes was on the floor. So I might have to. I have to find out. We've been able to save some of her paperbacks before, but I think one box. It's a big box, so I might have to blow the fan on them and dehumidify them and
hope that it works, because when books get wet, dehumidifiers don't always work on them either. And so you're lucky your comics weren't on the floor.
Yeah, this would be a very different conversation, and I'd be in a very different mood at the moment.
Yep. Queen's got to swap laundry. It reminded her. See, we're helpful. Nerd Talk can help with other stuff. So back to Nerd Talk. And speaking of comics, as everyone's that auction was over. That auction ended that night. Some things happened. A lot of comics are going back online.
Really?
Yes, we had some butthole, some stupid. I don't even know the reasoning behind it. Did the guy get in over his head and just whatever, or was he just being dumb? I don't get it. He ran up a $20,000 bill.
Oh my God.
And didn't pay. Credit card name didn't match the name he signed up with. Called the phone number, wasn't his phone number. No responses on emails. What was he hoping that we'd mail it out to the address and he'd just get them without paying? No. But
he's just one of those people like on eBay. They go in and they just mess up the auction, and then you have to go through it all over again.
Probably, but it's insane. We're going through all the legal channels because my boss is an auctioneer. His wife is a lawyer. So,
there you go.
Yeah, it's all that's all getting taken care of. But we're going to list it again. And it's all going to get listed with all the guy's other stuff, the stuff that was being carried over to a different auction. We're just taking that, combining it with it. We're going to put those that Superman #2 and those other comic books with it.
Yeah.
But it'll be a whole comic book auction. So part of me is just like, really, why would you do that? Because it's a pain. We go through all the time to list it. That's money involved. Boss has to pay us. We don't do it for free. It's my job. It's not something I just go and do. So they got to pay us for that. But then he turned around and you contact, he contacts the person who's selling it and says, hey, this is how much your stuff brought. Well, then when it's all said and done, now he's got to contact her and say, yeah, well, it actually brought $20,000 less than we thought because they didn't pay. So it's insane. But we're gonna post it again. We're gonna be trying to do a lot more advertising with it to get more people going because a lot of that stuff just went cheap.
I can imagine.
Cheap. I'll give you an idea. I got some stuff. I was bidding on some stuff.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff really cheap too. And my comic collection went from screenshots. My comic collection was sitting at $15.82 after the comics I bought on 4th of July.
Yeah.
$15.82 with a comic, the comic book, this app's estimated value of $97.87. So about $9,700. That's where it was. But I got the comics that I got from the auction, got them home, got them logged in. I'm sitting at 2,029 comics with an estimated total collection value of $11,543.
Nice.
So for very, very cheap, I got nearly $2,000 worth of comics. So it's
I gotta really sign up and look at the next one, but I'm trying to save as much as I can for the cons.
Yes.
In September, so I'm trying to be good.
I get that because I've got some stuff we got to take care of, bill wise and taxes wise. because we got to do our taxes and everything.
Yeah.
Our lovely state and county all has personal property tax and real estate tax and all that. So,
Oh yeah.
yes, every year got to pay out $1,500 to taxes just because of stuff we already own. And, oh, here, yeah, thank you for letting us own it. Here's more money.
Yeah.
Of course, they take it. It's theirs. You miss out on, if you owe $900 in real estate tax and you own a $110,000 house, you miss 1 year of $900. They automatically get to take, $100,000
Yeah, they
home.
take your stuff. Yeah.
There.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's a good trade. God, I hate taxes.
Yeah, we've been doing pretty good here. Robbie's with his job now. He's got that adulting money now, so he's been, although he's been doing his own little collectible thing, and he was on Amazon. He was looking for the Legos. He's into the Legos.
Walmart.
Walmart?
Yeah, and they canceled my order, so I was happy.
Oh yeah, he got He went to Walmart because he's been into the Legos ever since we did the Legos. He's been in them for a while. But he found a 1966 Batman, the Batmobile.
Yes.
And they canceled the order on him. They said it was out of stock.
No, it was high demand, so they couldn't.
Well, he went. We were walking through Walmart the other day, and apparently he found one on the shelf, last one. So he put it together.
Nice.
This thing's pretty good. These things are like the back things move. Whoops! Now that I just took it off of the thing.
Yeah.
But they don't move that far apparently.
So Robbie's got some nerd finds of the week going on there.
Oh,
well, he got that. We were talking about the Skeletor thing, and then apparently, obviously from your uncle, that wasn't a big deal. But this is the Skeletor he got. And he got a Doctor Doom. Which one is this?
Just a Supreme God Doctor Doom.
Supreme God Doctor Doom.
Or just, I think, God.
This one.
Okay.
With Thanos' skull and spine. So he collects the figures pretty good. He goes with that.
I'd like to get back into toy collecting. I mean, I've gotten some. I don't know. Part of me wants to do some flipping on it too, because as anybody out there knows who collects, it costs a lot of money, and I'm the kind of person I have a hard time selling stuff I've got that I like. Like if I got comic books, I have a hard time selling it, and I've come to the realization that you gotta buy and flip. So it's one of those things to where if you want something for yourself, buy two, sell one.
Yeah.
If they're profitable. If they're not, it's so I'm looking at different things, but
I've been finding little things here and there, like I found the Funko Pops from Star Trek Into Darkness. I found a Dr. McCoy Funko Pop, so I grabbed it. There was only one. Little stuff, but
little stuff.
Like you said, we and Holoqueen knows it too. The one income, I'm down to 0 income at the moment because with the whole disability thing I'm going through, that kind of thing. So we're limited. I'm getting unemployment because they didn't have anything for me to do light duty or whatever. The lawyer explained it to me. I have no idea. But at least I got something coming in, and we're doing pretty good. The VA is helping out.
Situations were out of your control to where you could not perform the job duties you had. Your company could not, due to the disability, your company could not provide proper work compensation for it. So you get it's basically like you're laid off, so you get to get unemployment for it.
Right. I get it until disability eventually kicks in, whenever that happens, or whatever with that.
Hopefully soon, but it can be a while.
Yeah.
Well, my nerd find of the week wasn't my find. Like I said, my mom, sister, and my son, Maddox, had gone to visit family in Colorado last week. And my son messaged me. He goes, hey, I think it was video call, or maybe it was just a message. No, he messaged me what it was, and he called and said, hey, do you want this? And, of course, what's the first thing that comes out of my mouth?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Yeah, well.
How much is it? Doesn't matter. Do you want it? Well, yes.
Yeah.
This is my nerd find of the week.
Uh-oh. Oh, you got it. The The Stanley Mego.
The Stanley Mego with the web shooting hands.
Nice.
He doesn't obviously shoot webs, but he's doing
Right.
the Spider-Man.
If you go to the comic book shop,
Nice.
I went to the comic book shop.
It's just a
They have
shame
one
that I
started the
couldn't the
Galaxy.
Legend himself sign it, but yeah, I was like, yes, I want that.
Yeah, I found a classic Spock Mego the other day, so I got that in the package, but I still have my 70s one upstairs. But my big thing this week, as I've mentioned before, I was in the Navy, and I was on the battleship New Jersey temporarily. I was on for 6 months, and they considered you crew, even though you were there for 6 months. And our Revolutionary War group did an event on the battleship New Jersey. It's a museum now. She was decommissioned, and she's here. And it's the first time I've been back on her since 1989. So I took the kids, and we got some pictures, and they're redoing the ship. So the deck, the teak deck, is being redone. So they actually gave me a piece of the deck of the ship from that's a World War II deck. So I got that, and I redid some of the pictures, like from when I was younger, like where I used to sit in the galley. It's like I gravitated right to my old spot, right where I used to sit. And now I got a picture of me and the kids at that table 30 years later. And it was just, if you're up in this area and you get a chance to see it, she's at the Camden waterfront. The old girl still looks good. She's getting a facelift, but for her age, the ship still looks good. I had butterflies walking up the pier looking at her as I was going on her again. And they have a crew wall inside the ship now. If you were former crew or whatever, you sign the wall now, and it's part of the museum. So I got to sign the wall, and it's always a big thing for me, anything veteran-wise or Navy-wise. And I got this from Till Valhalla Project. It's stainless steel. I don't know if you can see that. 22 a day. And it's got the stars and stripes on it.
Stripes, yeah.
For veteran suicide, 22 veterans a day end up taking their own life. This raises money for help for those people. So if you get a chance, I mean, they're not paying me for it. It's just something I bought. So, but if you do get a chance, go to tillvalhallaproject.com. They have T-shirts, bracelets.
Send me that link. Send me that link when we're done, and and I'll toss it in the description of the video, so that way people rewatching can find it.
What?
Nothing sprayed my knee.
What?
He doggy paddled my knee and jumped on it.
I swear. All right, kids, please, just go sit down. Okay.
I got
That's why I'm back in here.
Yeah, I know.
Creshley was like, "You gonna do it in the living room?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm gonna do it back in here, because then I'm not gonna make any weird faces. Like, what are you doing? Zip it? Or what are you talking about?"
I know. But I do this from the same spot every week. I'm at my kitchen table, my dining room table. Matthew, please, son, I love you, but you know.
Doesn't seem like that.
YouTube. Where's my thing?
What? Banana?
The bottle.
I hit it.
I was gonna say, we just got the new kittens, so I should be using the squirt bottle on the kids too.
Oh no, I already did.
It's like, stop it.
Yep. But no, man, I get it. No, that had to be surreal. I bet you that. I mean, it's cool that it was where you live now. You know, because I mean, you've moved numerous different spots.
Yeah.
Over the past 30 years, and your old ship gets made into a museum, and it's right there.
Yeah, well, obviously, Pennsylvania, New Jersey is right across I can see New Jersey from my house, literally, across Delaware, but it's just down the road, right across from Philadelphia, where we are. It's the New Jersey battleship. You can check it out online. You can donate. Even though it's a Navy battleship, it's privately owned now. It's a private museum. So they go on donations and all that stuff too. But I just had a blast. Once I got on the ship, I'm running around. I went to the medical department where I used to work and showed the kids where I used to sleep and up in the wardroom and down in the gal. Oh, I was all over the boat.
Question how you still have
My,
kids.
my Tia, our little step thing, when she sees my numbers for Sunday, I think I had over 12,000 steps, and all I was at was on the battleship all day. So I was all over. I was all over that thing.
Maybe we need to
That
get
works
that.
there.
Maybe we need to get to that battleship soon. More often because I don't, have you been sending her your steps, or do I just
Yeah.
She told me I
I
need to
sent
get
her-
on you.
I sent her the monthly total, but apparently she wants daily total. So I
Yeah,
have to go back and go through it and send her the daily totals. But I'm doing pretty good.
yeah. She wants dailies. What I do, I don't know what kind of phone you use. What I do on mine is I'll just go to my Samsung app or folder, click Samsung Health, and then when it pulls up, I click that, and then I can just go to whatever and screenshot it, and then I just send her the screenshots.
Yeah, that's what I usually go to mine is on my phone, the pedometer thing, and I just I'm like, okay, this day was this day was this day was this.
I got a job with New Jersey.
I mean, we're going to be doing some walking come September. I'm stoked. August, towards the end of August, I might actually get what's her name? Swallow. The what's her first name? Mandalorian and Supernatural. Emily Swallow? No.
I'm not sure.
She plays she's the armorer in Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, she's at the convention there in September.
Star Trek convention, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm planning on going to Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City this year.
Yeah.
Which is next month.
Okay.
She's going to be there too.
Oh, all right.
She's the only one that's in both of them, and I was like, how funny would that be? Like one right after the other. But no, this one, the one in Kansas City, I'm going to. I'm going to see if my daughter Raven wants to go. She's a huge Supernatural fan, and her favorite character is Castiel.
Yeah.
And Misha Collins is going to be there.
Oh wow.
So
up here we have they do a separate Supernatural Con altogether up here.
yeah.
We get a whole just Supernatural Con, but I guess they mixed a few extras into the Star Trek one this year because I'm looking forward to Katie Sackhoff too.
Well, it was more, it's more sci-fi. You got Katie Sackhoff, who, it was Battlestar Galactica, but she's also Star Wars, and it's the same with Miss Swallow. She's Supernatural, but they're obviously doing some Star Wars too. She's Mandalorian,
right?
So that's why the guy who played God in Supernatural, he's going to be there.
Oh wow! Okay.
At the Comic-Con as well. Brent Spiner's going to be there.
Okay.
He
goes to a few, but he hasn't been up here in a while. I think he was here about 5-6 years ago, and I haven't really seen him since. I've seen LeVar Burton in person the last con we had here. It was right after the 50. I think it was at 51 because we haven't had a con up here in a while. It's usually a smaller Star Trek one here, but it wasn't funny, but it was funny to think of. LeVar Burton is not really a germaphobe, but he's meeting people, and the guy in front of me in line to see him just lets out this big old sneeze, like right at the table. This was way years before COVID and all that stuff and all, but and he's just like, oh, I guess I got a cold. And he's doing like this, and he goes to shake LeVar's hand, and before LeVar Burton realized what's going on, he's shaking hands with this dude who just sneezed all over the place and just like is wiping his hand off.
Oh God!
And he's like, you could see his face was mortified at the whole thing. And he's just like, So he signed the picture real fast, and he's like kind of shuffling the guy on. And I get up there, and I'm like, no, please, go ahead. He goes, you don't mind? I said, I got Purell right here too. If you don't have it, he goes, no, I got it. He's doing the whole Purell, and he's doing everything. I said, oh my God! I said, how rude was that? We started talking. He's like, I know, right? The guy just sneezed all over you. He's like, I love my fans, but come on.
Yeah, like really?
Yeah. Ugh. I'm looking forward to Jerry Ryan this time too.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie, can you get my picture up there? Because I've probably mentioned it before, that like when I was working in Vegas at the time, and it's up on the top shelf of the thing. We would have to walk around with the celebrities when they came, and a lot of the other guys at the Star Trek thing are actors. They are professional actors, and they do not break character, nothing. So as I was working with her the one day, we came into the back, and I said something like, "Man, those people are crazy today, huh?" And she was like, "Oh my God, you broke character." I'm like, "We're in the back. What the hell?" She's like, "Oh, thank God. I don't have to do Klingon all day, right?"
Yeah, like it surprises me, even in the actor world. It surprises me on how many do that. I understand if it's a role that is, if you're a character actor and it's a role that's not really you normally.
Yeah.
I understand that when you're doing the filming, if you dive into it, and I can also get the novelty of it somewhat too. Like if you're doing an iconic role, like if you were doing the Joker, it's don't lie, guys. It'd be a gimmick. You'd be like, I'm going to stay in that actor the whole time, stuff like that.
Well, like that.
Or if you're doing accents like what's his Christian Bale did with American Psycho. When he filmed American Psycho, even off, throughout the entire time filming it, he spoke in an American accent.
Mm.
It wasn't until he was done filming that he went back to his normal accent.
Yeah.
And, and I can understand that in that sense, because you don't normally speak with that accent. You're doing the accent for the film, and, practice makes perfect. You keep doing it. You don't have to worry about slipping up if you're constantly in that situation. But if it's not something like that, if it's just like a normal acting gig, whether it be for like Star Trek The Experience or a con, or I can tell you, these people on these shows and movies, the moment the camera's not on them,
yeah,
I'm in character. All right, I'm good. I'm just gonna kick back. I'll read a book. I'll do whatever. Like they don't like. To me, honestly, it feels like the whole staying in character, it just feels like a novice thing. It's like you can't click it on and off. You
I just
got to do more work or something. I don't know. It's just my personal thing there.
I was giggling and joking with her and everything, and she signed my autograph. It says, "Thanks for the best night I ever had." To Rob from Jerry Ryan, and she signed it for me. And yeah, my ex-wife, my first wife, just loved that, right? She's like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I'm thinking, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Do you honestly think that Jerry Ryan has nothing better to do than the chunky dude from Philadelphia?"
All you do is just go home and be like, "It's okay, babe. She's on my list."
Yeah. She's on my freebie 5 or whatever you call the list or whatever. There's no real list like that. People don't have that. Wives have that. Men say they have it, and they know they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I even met her a few months before that at a con, and she's the one that I was like, she's like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm all, and that's the only answer I could get out. So I'm like, "Yeah, I was the Klingon that got goofy on you at the con,
Broke the ice instantly,
Yeah.
But no, man, I'm stoked. I like I said, I really want to make it to the one in Kansas City. I'm only going to go one day. I'm not going to do the whole full weekend thing,
Right.
because it's not one. I've been to Star Trek conventions. I've been to sci-fi conventions. I like them.
Yeah.
I like the group of people that walk around. I can converse. I can, out in public, I'm fine with it. Comic-Cons, I don't know. I've always been weary about going to an actual Comic-Con, because from the pictures I see, from the stories I hear, and from a lot of the comic book people I know that go to these things,
Like what?
it'd just be too many. You're like weaving in and out, and
They kind of keep it. It gets crowded, but there's a lot of people there.
Well, it's not so much that. It's like you get too many. I don't know. A lot of people that are. It's more about the knowing who drew what, who wrote what, buying this, buying that, getting this. going to all the panels and stuff like that. I don't care about panels.
No, I
I
look
don't
around
care
at
about
celebrities.
going and sitting there and listening to someone talk like I'm in a conference type thing. I like meeting and greeting. I like going there and meeting the celebrities, talking to them, seeing what are their current projects, or what's it like working with this person or working with that person, or what was it like dealing with this kind of filming, stuff like that. And yeah, there are people who are like, what was it like when you were on Ryloth 26 and the space shuttle was coming? It was a set, guy. Calm down.
Yeah.
you know?
Usually most of the conventions when we have our table there, the Klingon group has a table, and we can meet the celebrities like before the con opens and stuff when they're at their tables at the Comic Cons, and that's fun. Wizard World and everything I think is getting too big, and I'm not really a fan anymore. And they're getting all the, shall we say, the former adult entertainers now that have nothing better to do, and they're doing their cosplay.
I will never understand that. Never
well,
understand.
The first year they did it, I brought my kids to Wizard World for that, for the convention, because we had the table and we were going. And we're walking up and down the aisles, and they didn't even have them separated. Like now they call it, adult entertainment section, and there's like a gate, and you got to be 18 or whatever to walk up and down the aisles. Before, the first year they did it, we're just walking up in the aisles, and all of a sudden I'm looking down, I'm like, what the, you can see my youngest Matthew's eyes doing like, he's trying not to turn his head, but his eyes, you can hear the muscles squeaking. And he's looking down at the thing, and they're just sitting there in these, I will call them costumes, that they're supposedly wearing. Like, I know what Elektra's costume looks like, and I know it's not a red micro bikini with a headband on. That was it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Honestly, I think it's insulting to the nerd world. It's kind of like to me. It kind of paints this picture that it's just nerdum or adultum, and it's like no. There are plenty of us nerds out there that are wholesome family people.
Like me.
Yeah.
But
Can I hear that nerd voice again? Will you push up your glasses?
really,
We do. Like, it's fine. I mean, I will not begrudge the women if they want to get out of that industry and they're trying to do something else, even that. But come on.
it's
Wearing a red micro bra and carrying two sides and a headband does not make you Elektra. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. If they're having to put up must be 18 to enter because of what you're wearing, you're not getting out of that industry. You're still in that industry. You're just
it's not even that.
It's a different aspect.
The pictures they have on the table. Like when we were walking up and down, we had our table the day before the kids got there, and the one convention we went to, what is her name? Sarah Underwood, the Playboy Playmate of the Year, the one year. She does the cons now too. That's the only reason I know. The only reason I know that is because she was on the Girls Next Door Val used to watch, and we used to watch it. But she had on her booth former Playmate of the Year, Sarah Jean Underwood, whatever.
Why is she at a Comic Con or Sci-Fi Con? What is being in a Playboy or being on reality style?
She used to be in Playboy. Now she's doing her own little modeling thing. She had on a good costume. She was Susan Storm, from Fantastic Four, and it was a real costume. It was not like a four in electric tape on her boob or something,
Yeah, and I can understand if they show up. I can understand if they show up to cosplay.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, but were her pictures of her cosplaying? Like, was she doing autographs of her cosplaying? Is she famous for being a cosplayer?
No, she is famous for being a Playboy model, but now she's into cosplay. A lot of them
like
are.
I said, I'm not seeing that. Like, that, to me, that connection's not there. Just like wrestling. They always get these wrestlers at these cons, and I'm like, what does wrestling have to do with comic books and science fiction?
Yeah, it's more of a broader spectrum now. Like, there's a lot of guys from the '80s wrestling like Sergeant Slaughter, the Iron Sheik, all those guys are at the cons now too. It's not just comic books.
What
It's fandom more than anything
well, the
else.
problem is, and see, that's part of my problem too. Is it's too much. It's too much thrown together. That's why I love going to like Star Trek conventions, like that sci-fi convention in Jersey. I'm stoked to go because I see the panel.
Yep.
I see the content, and I'm like, I know what niche it is. It's this specific down the line. This is a Star Trek convention. When I look at the Comic-Con, Planet Comic-Con, I see that. I see the wrestlers that are going to be there, and this that's going to be there, and this YouTuber, this TikToker, this, and I'm like, what does this have to do with comic books? It doesn't. Don't call it a Comic-Con, whatever.
Yeah.
Can't we separate that out? If you want to have wrestlers and sports guys, make a sports con. If you want to have YouTubers and TikTokers and social media guys, make a social media con. I understand doing some cosplay somewhat. You get something like that, you get way too many people that aren't always about the content.
Right. Yeah, I could see Hollow-Queen. Yeah, it's like they're trying to broaden the audience, but it's just like it's too much. It's like it's very overwhelming when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like RetroCon, when we go there, yes, there's the voice actors from the cartoons that are in the toys. There's a lot of the other actors that are there. It's, there were Star Trek actors there at the one con, but yet they also had the voice of Lion-O, Chitara, Panther, all those guys were there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can have a variety, but try and stick within one genre. You know what I mean?
And like you could have Star Trek actors and voice actors. Well, if the voice actor is acting in cartoons that were comic books, that fits under Comic-Con. Star Trek actors have comic books that were written based on their likeness. So
that's what some of the wrestlers did. Like Sergeant Slaughter was actually he was in the G.I. Joe cartoon. They put him in the G.I. Joe cartoon. So I mean, a few of those guys were there, and it's just we're that's fine. But Wizard World is just like, my God. It's just, you got porn stars over here. You got YouTubers over there. You got, the professional cosplayers in their section. And that's fine, but it's too much.
Yeah, Hello Queen, and they are, and it does work, and that's the problem. Is it's working because they're broadening the audiences, and that's where the problem lies. Is all they are seeing are the little S's with lines through it in their eye. All they see dollar signs of all these people coming in. The problem is there's too much.
And the prices to get in anymore is ridiculous. I remember when the Star Trek convention, they didn't have the gold package, this package, that package. You went in, you sat down if you wanted to go in and sit down. Now it's like, what are we paying? It's like $3.99 or something like that for the silver package.
I think I decided I'm gonna $2.99 for the silver.
$2.99 for the silver. Yeah, that's that's.
They added another package. It's gold front row.
Yeah, I don't need to be in the front row. That's what
front row seating for gold. I just looked at it last night. You know how much that package is?
What, $500 or $600?
Gold is $500 or $600.
Yeah.
Gold front row.
$1,200. $1,200. Yeah, I thought
$1,200 for gold front row. Like
for $1,200 in the front row, Jerry Ryan better be sitting on my lap making out with me. For $1,200.
You already gave her the best night of her life.
What?
You already gave her the best night of her life. Someone tag Jerry Ryan in this. We need to have business cards so we can hand them out.
Oh God.
Give him Jerry Ryan. She'll go home and be like, I wonder, let's check out his podcast. $1,200. Jerry Ryan better be sitting on my lap.
Yeah.
Watching him anymore.
Yeah, then I'll walk into the convention with a big bullseye on my forehead. Yeah. Oh, so you're the guy that thinks you should be, I'm like, no, that's good.
So are you trying
Herman said it.
I didn't say it. Nope.
It's ridiculous what it was. I remember you could get into the con. If you bought a weekend pass, it was $30 back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I went to the Star Trek convention in Kansas City back in the late '90s, where I met Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey and them,
That's when I was born.
they you were early '90s. What was I talking about?
Leonard Nimoy, John
Oh yeah.
DeLance.
Well, it was a little bit more expensive than that, but we still sprung for the whole weekend thing, and it wasn't just, and it wasn't like, ooh, you go there and do a karaoke night or
Yeah.
watch
They've definitely,
Stamets do something
stepped
weird.
up the game.
Yeah,
they
I mean,
definitely
look,
stepped
then
up.
it was, we got a 3-course or 4-course meal. You got to sit down and talk to the people who were there, came through and meet and greet and sit there and watch Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey do their little radio show thing on stage live. It was freaking sweet, and it didn't feel, and I've heard negative things about Fedora when they were doing it, and I guess they were doing a lot of shady stuff too.
Planet Fedora, it was a lot. They owe people. I think he should have been in jail. He took me for $450 once. So,
But I mean, but it didn't feel like you were being forced through things. Like when you got in line, you could sit there, you could have a conversation. That's one thing. I was talking to somebody who goes to cons, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to meet them." And they're like, "What?" Stand in line, go up, meet, talk for a minute, get their autograph. No, you don't do that. You stand up, you hand it to them, they sign it, you get it, and you get pushed out of the way. What's the point of getting an autograph?
That's the way Slanted Fedora was getting near the end. It was like a big cattle line, just kind of move.
And I really hope that Star Trek convention in Jersey is not like that.
No, it's usually smaller. So we usually get, like, in some of the smaller actors, well, I won't say smaller actors, but the last one we went to, Connor Trenier, Dominic Keating, Nicole DeBout, they were all, like, right there at tables in the one room.
Yeah.
And we sat and had a big old conversation with Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating. The two of them just sit next to each other and hang out. They were going over my Klingon makeup. They're like, "Oh, look at that, it's blended, and you're doing all that." We were having a good old time. Nicole DeBauer is still,
and I don't expect getting to stand there and have a conversation with Shatner.
right.
Even when I went to the one, the Fedora one, there was really not, Delancey tried to have, you'd have a little tiny conversation with him, but it wasn't, there was a long line because everyone went there. Your two headliners were Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey. So those two weren't really, but all the other ones you were fine. And the guys I was talking to about the Comic Cons are like, no, everyone, like, there's really no one that has tables that you can see and have a conversation with. They're like, you got to wait in line, and like they sell fast passes to where you can skip the line to wait in a shorter line or something for those who have fast passes. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Like I'm sorry, if you're having to treat your convention like Six Flags, if you're having to treat it like it's a theme park, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Tone it down.
Yeah, the good thing about New Jersey is it wasn't huge. You had the autograph room, you had the hall with all the seats for, like, the panels, the costume contest, and all that. Then you had, like, the dealers area, the dealers room, and all that stuff. And it was pretty good. Some of the autographs were with your package. Obviously, there are some that are with the package, and there are some you have to get separate. And they're not usually too bad, but
yeah,
they're bad.
Are they going up what, $15 an autograph now or something? They were $5.
When I got LaForge, it was $45 for an autograph picture. Frakes was about the same thing. Although Jonathan Frakes, I got to talk to him for a while. He was pretty cool too, because I talked about Superman, Lois and Clark, when he was on that with his wife, when he and his wife were on that.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembered my name through that whole weekend too. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because one day I was a Klingon and he knew my name. The next day I had a Vulcan stuff on. He's like, "Hey, Robert, how you doing?" Like, okay. Yeah.
Like, you recognize me. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, man. I'm stoked. I'm excited.
The end of this month we have Eagle Expo and Itzicon on the 31st of this month up here. and we have a table for that. I can't bring the kids because it goes from the con in the morning to Evil Expo in the evening, which has a lot of the horror, and I think some of the weird fetish horror people are out too in that. But I'm helping people with the table.
I've seen people post stuff and heard people talk about stuff like that. Is that the one where they get into the whole what do you call it? Punk, steampunk cosplay and stuff like that?
Everything. It's mostly the vampires, zombies,
Okay.
goth stuff. I think there's some steampunk there.
And see, again, they're doing it right. You know, they're having a little Comic-Con, and then they separate it out. You'll still get people. You'll still get people. Because you get people like me who I'm not going to be going to these gigantic ones that you can turn around and charge buku bucks because you're having to turn people away at the door because you're packed full.
Yeah.
You know, you'll still get us going. And if you separate it out, you can do 3 separate cons. If you charge half for each con, hear me out, guys. If you charge half admission for each con, but you're doing 3 instead of 1, if, say, for example, you normally charge $50, high, low, whatever. If you charge $50 a day,
you
do 3 cons instead of 1 and charge $25 a day. Well, after those 3 cons, you've made $75 per head instead of $50 per head. Is that not smarter business? Think about it.
I could say, like, because a lot of the ones up here are in a part of Philadelphia. It's called the Oaks Philadelphia Convention Center, and there's a lot of big halls in there. It's like they can have 3 conventions going at one time. Mm-hmm. Like I think one year they had the Comic-Con, the gun show, and something else going. If they got the whole place, have your Comic-Con in one section, have your horror show in another section, either sell admission to 1 or 2 or all 3, like a different color wristband or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just all bumping into each other all day long. You know?
Exactly. You know, there's a comic book artist out there that's actually become pretty popular, Scotty Young.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably seen his work. He does a lot of the kid look like baby looking superheroes. Back years ago, I think it was back when Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out.
Okay.
Free Comic Book Day. They released. There was a book out. What was the name? What was the title of that book? Comic book. I could find it real quick. Some artist, like a local Missouri artist, got his a story of his published in this book, and he was out doing autographs. So Scotty Young is going to be at the Kansas City one. It was Digital Webbing Presents. Right? Scotty Young's going to be at this coming Comic-Con. And this is the first comic book cover that he did. I've got a couple of those signed by the artist at the time. Gary Lister is one of the creators that had a story in it. I've got them signed by him, and I'm like, how awesome would that be to be able to take that book in and get Scotty Young to sign it, since it's his first comic book cover, and have two SIGs on one book.
Yeah,
that'd be freaking awesome. So I'm stoked about that. Like I said, I don't want to pay for the whole weekend and do all that because the list of people there, I'm not big at getting my comic book signed. I literally have a handful of people that are going to be there that I'm like, I want to get their signature. Like, Scotty Young is a creator, comic creator, artist, that I like to get his signature on that book. I got Brent Spiner. I've got, the Supernatural cast that are going to be there. Stuff like that. Love to go through. And then just check it out and check out the vendors. Stuff like that. But it's not like where you look at that one in Jersey where it's like the entire list. It's like, I really hope I can make it through all the dang lines.
Yeah.
And have enough money.
The lines aren't too bad there. The lines aren't as bad as you think in New Jersey. It's a big con because it's the first one there, and probably this will be 5 years since we've had one. But it's usually spaced out pretty good, and a lot of the people there. I mean, granted, Star Trek fans are usually pretty good. I will
Yeah.
say, I've been to ones where I've seen Star Wars fans that are just kind of like, we're this and we're that, and they kind of take over and they run the thing, and it goes a little nuts. Star Trek fans are like the aging hippies. They're like, right on. Everybody's like, right on,
Why
man.
are you
Right on.
there? Have fun. That's what it
Yeah, have a
is.
good time. The one good thing about them is when we do the Klingons, we used to do the Klingon thing there, and we're going to have some of our group there at the convention as well. It usually takes us, it took us 45 minutes one year just to walk through the lobby to where the con was, because people are, oh, can I get my picture? That looks cool. Let's get our pictures. Let's get a picture. It's just a good time. You meet people there. You see them. Hey, I haven't seen you since the last con. Where you been? What's going on? And it's even nicer when, I mean, I've been to a lot of cons and I've met the celebs a few times, and it's nice when they're like, "Hey, Rob, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while." I'm like, "Oh, wow, these dudes took the time and they were actually remembered who I was." It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing about it. Lou Ferrigno is going to be there in Kansas City.
Good for
So
him.
good for him. I just there's some people I want to meet. I've heard stories, but at the same time, some I haven't met, some I want to meet. And after I can't remember if my mom got a DeForest Kelly autograph or not. She can't remember either.
I have actually,
rub in my face. I know you got a few.
I got a couple of those.
It doesn't have to be rubbed in here. But with the exception of DeForest Kelly, if I get Bill Shatner's autograph, I'll have the whole original. I have the 4. I have got like 3 or 4 Leonard Nimoy autographs.
Yeah, I got Leonard Nimoy. I got DeForest Kelly, Scotty, Majel Barrett. I got Grace Lee Whitney. I have Walter Koenig. I have George Takei, Michelle Nichols. Yeah, I got to get Bill Shatner's. And I mean, when you say Lou Ferrigno, I'm thinking maybe I caught him on a bad day, but it just, when I met him that one time at Wizard World years ago, he just completely, it was like he turned the switch off. I was like, F you very much. Have a nice day.
That's the other problem too. That's where I look at it somewhat. Is I've seen these pictures, and I've seen videos of these cons, and when you get all those people in there, you got to feel sorry for some of these panelists.
Well, I mean, this was 9:00 in the morning. The con wasn't even open yet. Our table was set up. His table was set up. He was just kind of sitting there. It was before the con even opened. And I said hey to him when I was walking by, and I said, I used to love your show. That was my weekend, when I was a kid, and you were the great. You gonna buy something or what? I'm like, well, I kind of was, but not really. I wasn't rooted in popping the finger or nothing because he's still Lou Ferrigno. You know what I mean? I'm not stupid, but
yeah.
I mean, the people, like all the other celebrities I met at these cons, like I feel bad that I can't remember the woman's name, but she played Jenny Shepard on NCIS. Lauren, I forget her name, the redhead. She used to play the director on NCIS in the first few seasons, the redheaded woman. She was fun, and I met River Song, Alex Kingston. She is, oh my God, she is funny as hell in person. She's the best. And Michelle Nichols, before her health started deteriorating, she used to come over and have a drink with us.
She's doing her last con, or did her last con.
I think they said she did her last cons, but you see her still, like some news things here and there where she's still showing up, I guess, when she can.
What this one is it's not really a convention. It's sort of like a christening or something of something that her, like, people she knows or a group was putting together this charity type place or something. I don't know, the Federation headquarters or something like that.
Oh,
And she was going to be there for that. And then after that, she was retiring. No more public appearances.
right.
And, which I'm saying good for her because she has been there for numerous people over and over again. You get those people that were doing those fan movies or whatever, and she was always there for them, helping them out. And it was just like,
Yeah.
Whether they paid them or not, all those Star Trek actors that were helping them out, that was freaking cool.
Yeah. And, I know we have the convention in September, but I'm thinking for next year, like next summer, the Star Trek set tour in New York, upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should plan a trip up to there.
That'd be freaking sweet.
Because I think he's got all the sets for the original series right now. And I think I read that he's doing the Next Generation sets too. I think he's expanding to the Next Gen sets. So by next year, who knows what he'll have. I'm thinking that's almost like, a Star Trek nerds mecca, roll up to there.
Yeah, Halloween, come on down, cross the border, and we'll all do it next year. It'd be freaking awesome.
Well, you have to see if Trudeau will let them off their chains long enough to come down to New York. I come to New York.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Halloween story. No, but no, back on track.
Yeah.
We talked about convention for quite a while. I was stoked about that.
Yeah.
But then I really want to talk about these shows.
Okay, yeah.
Final episode tomorrow. What did you think of last week's episode?
I thought Loki is awesome. I mean, it's just I'm waiting for the big twist in the final episode because with Loki there always has to be a huge twist. It's already a big twist. I love the alligator Loki myself.
Hold on a second. Keep talking. I had the door closed. Someone opened it. Now all the cats are in here tearing stuff up.
They have I've seen the polo shirts they're advertising now that instead of just the regular Izod alligator, they have the Loki alligator on the chest now. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see one of those. I'm not a polo shirt fan, but for that I might buy one. I can't wait. With Halloween, if the border isn't open by the end of the summer, you're going to see some Canucks losing their. Yeah, I can imagine.
You're going to see them sneaking in.
All the Lokis they had coming in there, the President Loki and the alligator Loki biting his hand off. And when they enchanted him, I thought the classic Loki with the power, that was awesome.
Oh, it was amazing.
And he's such a famous British. He's in everything, and the fact that he's now classic Loki, it just made my day that he was doing it. I mean,
amazing actor, amazing. I wasn't a fan of the costume. I'm gonna say
that was classic Loki. That was the classic comic book Loki.
The design of the costume was classic comic Loki.
Right.
The delivery of the costume we see on screen felt like a cosplay costume. It did not feel like a professional costume department costume. It felt like someone made a cosplay classic comic Loki costume in their basement. I'm just gonna say that. It didn't feel like they could have gone with the classic look and still not made it look cheesy. I'm sorry. I love the episode. I love Loki. But that is the one thing that kept turning me off. Was his costume just looked too cheesy as far as how it was put together. The execution of putting that costume together just looked cheesy to me.
The actor himself said he wanted to wear a muscle suit under it. He said he could have made him look a little better in it. But he goes, I kind of looked a little frumpy there in this costume. But it kind of reminds me of the Halloween episode of WandaVision.
Yes.
Where they had their classic costumes, but you could tell they weren't,
And I was able to, again, those classic costumes look poor execution too, but I thought that's what they were going for. I thought it looked more like a Halloween, They were Halloween costumes. Where this classic Loki costume is supposed to be what he wears as Loki. And I'm like, it looks like a Halloween costume. I don't know. It just feels like they were making fun of the classic costume look instead of just trying to execute the classic costume look. But that's just me.
Yeah, like Halloween, he looked like he was a run-down classic of the costume. Like he'd been running after he was, oh my God, what do they call it? When they're,
Goliath?
No. When they're erased or whatever they are, when they're pruned or whatever.
Pruned.
Pruned, yeah. So he's been running for a while, so he's a little run down to begin with. But yeah, I mean, I can see it was a little cheesy on the thing, but I'm just a little bent that they just have Loki in just a shirt and tie and pants, and that he's not in his, full Loki
character. The situation is his. Hey, tear up the chair. I thought that at first too, where it's like he hasn't turned into his Loki, but it feels like it's part of his character development. He's not trying to be that Loki anymore. He's humble now. He's humbled down. So whether they're gonna do some weird twist, I really hope they don't do the weird twist everybody's trying to say they are. And yeah, Halloween, exactly. It felt I get the rundown. It felt like a party city Loki. Yeah. It was weird in Loki. Halloween's right there. She gets it. I'm gonna put that comment, boom, right there. It was an intentional appropriate, but it was weird in Loki. It was.
Yeah.
But I see his character. That's why he hasn't put on his, because he doesn't need to. He's not that Loki anymore. He was defeated. He did an amazing job acting it out. And what it boiled down to is when he was in that scene with the Infinity Stones, and none of them had powers to him, he was defeated. He felt small. And at that moment, he felt small. So he was defeated. Now he's building himself back up. But he knows, he saw his mom. He saw that he was the cause of his mom dying. He saw that he actually does do some good and then dies right after. And all this other stuff. He's not that Loki anymore. He's not the Loki that puts on his costume and is like, oh, big horns, go on through. Especially after, who called it? A few weeks ago, who called it?
Yes.
Called it. Especially after the Silky ship, the Sylvie Loki. Especially after that little spark lit, he's no longer that Loki. Now,
I'm just hoping he stays this way and doesn't shift back at the end. You know what I mean? I hope he doesn't screw anything over.
I am too. I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, okay, they're setting up for Kang the Conqueror. We know Kang's going to be an Ant-Man. How do you bring in Kang and Ant-Man when he's an Avengers villain? He's Secret Wars. He's not. How do you use him as a villain in Ant-Man? Unless you're using him as a villain, sort of like how they did Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. I could get that. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, this is an awesome way to bring in Kang. They've already got his love interest in here. You've already got other aspects. So I'm just like, okay, I can live with this. It is what it is. We'll carry on. Please let it be Kang. Everything shows it should be Kang. And then I was reading online on Facebook or whatever, and somebody had to say it, and it's got me scared crapless.
What?
Isn't it going to be awesome when Loki and Sylvie go to the tower and it's another Loki variant that's behind the whole thing? Please,
come on.
Please, no.
No, don't do that.
I
hope not.
And the whole reason he's wanting all the Lokis to die is because if any other Loki takes that other path, he's in trouble. And I'm like, you're making sense and I don't like it.
All right, we got to find out who made that comment, and if it happens, smack him around a little bit.
We need to go Jay and Silent Bob it.
Yeah.
Print it out, knock on the door. Are you so-and-so who did this comment? Yeah. Well, yes, I am.
And did you write on poopshoot.com? How many people want to kick
I'm like, no, you're making too much sense. No, please, stop it. It needs to be clean. It might be okay
yeah,
with somewhat too Halloween, but it still needs to be Kang.
it's
And
gotta be Kang. You cannot ruin this with actual making sense. Come on now.
That's gonna be Chris Hemsworth.
We don't need logic and reason. Come on, people.
and it's just, and the other thing I thought was interesting is how they opened up the door to bring back Infinity War Loki.
Yeah.
Actual Loki that went through it, not Endgame Loki, not the one that we're watching in Loki. Infinity MCU Loki, Infinity War Loki, the one that Thanos kills.
Yeah.
Because of what Classic Loki said. Classic Loki said that he snuck away and lived on a planet and was off the radar.
Yeah.
Until he went to come out. So part of you is like, ooh, Infinity War Loki could have done the same thing.
I think you're going too far into it now.
I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying they could. That's what I'm hoping for, Halloween. I'm hoping to get little aspects of Kang, you know.
All right, hold on. I have to go beat my son because he said it's Agatha behind it.
Huh?
Robbie said it's Agatha behind it, messing around.
I already did that. When somebody's like, "Who do you think's behind the veil and who's in the castle?" I said it was Agatha all along.
Yeah, that's what Robbie just said.
Or Chris Hemsworth.
And of course, 50,000 people say it's Mephisto.
Oh God, it's Frog Thor.
Frog Thor.
Frog Thor.
He got there using the Thanos copter.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see the Thanos copter? Oh my God, it was awesome. Oh man, Loki. God, that show is beautifully done. Oh,
in the comics, Thanos got arrested by the police.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the big twist, and that's what's going to kill me. Is if it's some big weird twist in it. You know what I mean? You know it's going to be Kang. It's like anybody.
Give me Doctor Doom. I know it's so
It's not Doctor Doom.
I know it's so unlikely.
Doom. I'm sorry. I've seen so many people try to throw out the Doctor Doom part, and it's like, does anybody read Doctor Doom comics? I'm sorry. Doctor Doom is an Earth villain that makes his way.
I know it's not going to be him, but I really
a celestial style villain.
Or
You're not going to turn around and just introduce Doctor Doom as a celestial style villain right off.
Right. Doctor Doom is just one of Robbie's favorites, so he just wants to see it.
Dad, what if it's Galactus?
Not Galactus.
No, Galactus.
Galactus, you can't go
Galactus
right.
doesn't have time for
you
that.
can't go right to Galactus. I mean, you can't.
That's the only villain that hasn't been mentioned that I know.
If they don't do Kang the Conqueror as the big villain, when that Fantastic Four in the MCU comes out, that's where they're going to release Galactus because Silver Surfer.
Well, I don't know. If they're gonna, what are they going to try and do? Another Fantastic Four?
Yeah. MCU's Fantastic
They're bringing Fantastic Four into the MCU. They're going to do a Fantastic Four. However, I do not believe Silver Surfer should be introduced into any of the Fantastic Four storylines because of the fact that the MCU has already broke into the Universal storylines. You've got Guardians of the Galaxy. You've got Nova Corps exist in the MCU. What's left of them after Thanos attacked them, stuff like that. You can literally bring Silver Surfer into a different movie, into a different aspect of it, instead of bringing them, because if they bring them in Fantastic Four, what they're going to run into is they're going to run into a repeat of Fantastic Four Silver Surfer.
That's why I did probably do it.
Movie. And
they could probably pull a solo movie off of Silver Surfer.
They could definitely pull a solo movie off Silver Surfer. But what I'm saying is I would like to see it won't be Guardians of the Galaxy, but we could totally get a Nova Corps movie or something along those lines that brings in Silver Surfer and have Galactus as the big bad in it. And not even hit the main big bad, just situational. You know what I'm saying? It can bring them into the MCU the way it should be off Earth. This whole, that's one of the biggest problems that a lot of comic book movies have is they try to bring all these, big celestial villains to Earth immediately. And it doesn't always work that way because Earth's not the center of the galaxy. It's not the center of the universe. And that's why I love like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. brought in Ego as a big bad. And yeah, he planted a plant on Earth, but he planted them on numerous planets. His goal was to destroy the entire, universe, remake it in his type image, and they did the same thing. Thanos, yes, there was the situation with Avengers, but he was also a big bad in other movies off Earth.
Mm.
So
Galactus can be. Hollow Queen said he can be introduced in Captain Marvel as well.
yeah.
And she's not convinced that Mephisto isn't behind the events of WandaVision.
I'm not convinced. I'm not either. And you don't have to reveal the big bad to have the big bad. There's
that could come down later.
Situations,
Because they could throw one movie out there that just ties it all together. With the Doctor Strange movie or something, and just tie everything together.
Well, see, there's another theory out there that I was reading, and that theory is that Wanda's kids that she heard asking for help at the end of WandaVision are at the end of time. They're in the same place the Lokis are. The theory is that there was a Nexus event created by the kids not getting killed, and they were pruned.
Oh, okay.
They got, when they pruned that timeline, it went there. Basically, it was an event that a situation where Wanda didn't destroy them type stuff.
Right.
And they went in and pruned it, and
right. I like that. Yeah.
That's a theory there. And I would love for it to, I would love the season finale of Loki. I would love for tomorrow to be something that brings those together. Now, on the same path of Loki, did you watch Black Widow?
Not yet.
Oh,
we're still seeing how we're going to do with Black Widow yet. I'm reading mixed
don't read
reviews
about it.
on it.
Watch the movie. It's good.
You saw it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was like, okay, if it's good, if you think it's good, we'll check it out.
It's awesome. It's not the best Avengers movie, but it's not the worst Avengers movie. I mean, come on. It's better than Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. It's better than Incredible Hulk. It's better than Thor 2. It's better than a lot of it's better than Captain Marvel.
What about the Hawkeye movie?
There's no Hawkeye movie.
There's no Hawkeye.
Yeah, it was canceled because
Hawkeye
it was
TV
bad.
series.
What'd you say, Robbie?
I said, wait till you see the reveal of Taskmaster.
Wait till you see the reveal of Taskmaster?
Yeah, it's a completely different character than the original one.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
I love what they did with Taskmaster. I love it. It was awesome. I'm not lying. I'm not trolling. It was. I'm happy they did with it what they did with it. I was worried on the path they were going to take because it's a prequel. It's not a sequel. I mean, it's a sequel to Civil War, but it's a prequel to Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Taskmaster's in it? How are they going to play this off? Are we going to get another situation where it's like they're different, they're weird? It's like we did with Wanda and Pietro, with Wanda and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
So which Quicksilver is it going to be the situation where they've got this? But I loved it, because Taskmaster was a mutant. And if you're going to do a pre-Infinity War movie with the mutants and not address the situation of mutants, it's kind of hard to do. And I'm glad they... Spoiler alert for those who didn't see it. Sorry, Pizza. Taskmaster isn't a mutant. They could be a mutant. You never know. They could very well be a mutant, and it adds to how they were able to do what they were able to do. But it's not your classic Taskmaster from the comic. And I love that, too, because I watch a lot of comic book stuff, and there are so many speculators out there that were just buying and buying and buying Taskmaster comics as cheap as they could, and then jacking the price of them up, putting in their listings, Taskmaster's going to be in Black Widow, buy my comic at an inflated price because of it. And then everybody's like, it's not the same Taskmaster. I don't want it. I loved it. It was great. Like, yes. Sorry, I got a thing against people who collect comic books, but all they really do is buy and sell. They don't even pay attention to the stories.
Right. I'm debating if it's one I want to actually go to the movies and see, or if we're just going to kick back here in the living room and just check it out on,
We were going to go to the drive-in Friday night and watch it, and we didn't get the chance to. We're gonna watch that in Fast 9, a double
Okay.
feature. But we had to go pick Nora up, and she didn't want to have it. She wasn't having it, so we came home and ended up watching it on Disney Plus. But I would still love to see it in the theater. It's a big movie, man. It's good. It's solid. It's right there. Harley said it. It's a solid MCU entry. You know,
Okay.
it doesn't leave tons of questions. You've got it.
Kind of hard.
It lets you see what happened to Black Widow after Civil War, because you always question that, you know? You always saw where she was at Civil War, where she ran off. And then we get Black Widow when she shows up in Infinity War and starts giving Wanda this little "you weren't supposed to run away" type thing. You know, and then we see her on how she is in Endgame, but there's that period there that we're just like, what did she do during this time frame? And it brings it all there. It gives you that. And I liked it. And honestly, I'm going to say it. I want a Black Widow sequel with Scarlett Johansson. We've got a 5-year gap we could put it into. We do.
I'm still waiting for all the Star Treks to come out. I mean, we're going to more than likely check it out. I mean, we're going to end up probably breaking down this weekend and catching up on everything and watch Black Widow and all that. But I'm still stoked for all the Star Treks coming back out. Lower Decks, Discovery, Picard's not till 2022. But the more I see of it, the more previews I see of it, the more, I mean, although some people are saying it's a rehash of the pilot of The Next Generation, or like a continuation of the Trial of Humanity, because you keep hearing them messing with the different timelines again. But I just think just John Delancey alone, Q in it alone is going to make it, I think, make it.
Oh, yeah. And I honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say it. They can say what they want. They can put out there what they want. I seriously do not think it's going to be a continuation of the Trial of Humanity, because if you've watched Voyager, the Trial of Humanity is definitely over. I'm sorry. The Q Continuum has already had its Civil War. There's already been all kinds of stuff. And to be 100% honest, Q's got a soft spot for Picard. He's got a soft spot for Picard, but he's got a soft spot for Picard too. I think Q is showing up. I think Q's showing up because something's going to happen and Q's going to need to be there to help. I think he's showing up to help. I don't think he's coming back as a villain. I don't think he's coming back as a pompous butthole that's going to try to continue the annoying Farpoint trial. I think he's showing up to help. I'm going to say it. That's where I'm sitting at with it.
That's what I'm kind of wondering. After Voyager and all that stuff with the Q, I'm waiting to see how they're going to bring him back in, how he's going to show up in it. Like, I'm still waiting though. I've been watching the Lower Decks previews, and it just looks funny as hell. I can't wait. I signed a petition about getting, oh my God, Wesley Crusher on Picard.
There's a petition out there?
Yeah, there's a petition to get him
Send
on.
me a link to that, because he needs to be on there. I mean, I thought it was kind of a smack in the face to him, to be honest. I thought CBS did a smack in the face. It was like, hey man, guess what? I know you came back for Star Trek Nemesis. I know you're back in our timeline. You're not hopping timelines with the Traveler. You're here as a character, but your character's there and you could play him. But guess what? We're redoing Picard, and you're not going to show up, but you can do the after show.
Well, the whole thing with that is he was actually, it was like a big site on Facebook, signed the petition and all that, and it was on Instagram. And he was actually in more scenes in Nemesis. Most of his scenes got cut out.
Yeah.
And it was a big part. He was actually serving on the Titan. So he should have been on the Titan with Riker. So I'm waiting to see. I mean, I signed the petition. Will Wheaton needs to be in there.
He does. I'm sorry.
And it's funny now, Will Wheaton is the age right now that Patrick Stewart was when he started as Captain Picard. Which is fine. I thought if they were going to do a Next Generation movie, they should have made Will Wheaton Riker's part with the because he got the beard and everything. Make him Riker, but
I want Wheaton to be there. I was reading something the other day. They're talking about bringing Cisco back.
Really? I heard with him that he was just not having it anymore. Like he tried to be distant,
It might not be a situation of bringing back Avery Brooks.
He might bring.
It might be an animated an animated concept because we have Lower Decks. We also have Legacies or whatever it is.
Prodigy. Yeah,
Prodigies. So, they can bring Cisco back, and it doesn't have to be Avery Brooks voicing him if they do it in an animated sense. You can get voice actors that sound similar. I'm sorry. It can happen,
I'm waiting. I was always waiting to see if they were going to do a movie or even a follow-up on Cisco coming back from the Prophets. You know what I mean?
They should. I'm sorry. I think Avery Brooks would do it if they came to him with the right script. The problem is they probably go to it with money, going, "Oh, we got to go to him with the right dollar sign." No, you got to watch everything you see of Avery Brooks. It's got to be the right script and it's got to be the right concept. And I think if they went to him with the right script and the right concept, he would be there.
Yeah, I was watching some Deep Space Nine the other night with my youngest. Like to fall asleep, I'll put it on the TV for him as he's falling asleep up in the room. We watched Way of the Warrior. We watched the Trials and Tribulations where they mix the old episode with the Deep Space Nine characters. And my favorite is Bada Bing, Bada Bang, one of them, where they're back in 50s Vegas.
Hello, Queen. It is true, yeah. Avery does have an amazing voice, but there are voice actors out there that can do a pretty darn good imitation of many different voices.
Right. That's basically their job, is imitating voices.
Yeah. So, they could literally make you think you're listening to Avery Brooks and it not be him. That's what it boils down to. I'm sorry. I'm right there when I see an actor playing a specific character. I don't want to, I love that actor. I hate it when they recast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do not feel that a character should be married to the actor. If the actor does whatever the actor does and doesn't want to be there, whatever, I'm perfectly fine with them recasting with someone else. And you never know. Sometimes you may not even remember it. I was an adult when Harry Potter came out, and I could still sit down and watch all 7 movies or 8 movies or however many movies there are. And it still doesn't click in my head. Like, I have to mentally remind myself that it's a different actor playing Dumbledore. You can see it. You sit down and watch the second one and then watch the third one. They're 2 different actors. You can see it, but on the overall scheme of things, you don't really notice it. It plays out just fine.
I think you would notice Avery Brooks, though. Dumbledore, there's the makeup of the character. The big long beards and everything.
As an actor in a live action sense, in a visual live action sense, yes, you'll notice it. Mm-hmm. But I honestly believe they could find somebody to play Avery Brooks' voice in an animated sense.
Yeah.
If they put Avery Brooks in the credits, you would think it was him.
Right.
If they said it was him, you would think it was him. That's just, he does have a distinct voice. It's not as distinct as like James Earl Jones or
Morgan Freeman.
But there's someone that does commercials at our town for one of our little jewelry companies. I swear you would think it was Morgan Freeman.
Oh, wow.
On the radio, the voice you hear on the radio, you would swear it was Morgan Freeman. It's not, because it's a local company. It's not a big company. And Morgan Freeman didn't come in and do it. But you would swear it was. Red Skull. They changed up Red Skull. The guy who was in The Walking Dead, he does voices. And it made you, you unless you went in and was like, oh, wait, he played him? And that's what it boils down to me, is you've got those situations that can go back and forth, and they could recast it. It would suck if they recasted it in a visual sense, in a live action sense, but they could totally recast it because his character's left open. His character could transform into something. We don't know.
Well, I mean, if we could get over the recasting of Kirk, Spock, Uhura, Sulu, and all them, I mean, they redid that for the JJ verse, made them younger again.
And
It took some getting used to, but still.
it takes getting used to, but yeah. I mean, I'm that kind of person. If an actor passes and it's a character that wasn't the actor's like if an example where I don't think recasting would work would be Ernest. Like, we don't need to see an Ernest goes to jail without Jim Varney.
Right.
Right. That was his character.
Right. That was his bit thing. Yeah.
That was his. Don't do an Ernest now that he's passed and cast someone else as it. No, doesn't work. But a Star Trek character, yes, he may have been the first actor to play that character. The character was created and he was cast to play that character first and move on. But the character's bigger than him.
Right.
You know.
Speaking of the recasting and all that stuff, to go on, it's a little off the Star Trek topic that I like to be on, but how about the Rob Zombie Monsters movie that's supposed to be coming?
We've talked about it.
I know I brought it up before, but
we talked about it.
I'm still on that of who's going to be Herman Munster and how are they going to do that.
I'm gonna let it float out there in the interwebs and do its thing, and people talk about it, and I'm just gonna not pay attention to it, honestly, because
it's going to happen no matter what we say. I mean,
it's going to happen, and I just, like I said the last time we talked to it, I think Rob Zombie is making a huge mistake doing it. Okay. I think Rob Zombie is making a huge career mistake in making the Munsters movie, because there are one of two things he can do with it. Like I've said before, he can either make it Rob Zombie style, which all the Rob Zombie fans are going to be stoked, and that's why they go watch it. They want to see it, in this style. But all the Munster fans are going to hate it. No, they're going to despise it, and they're going to despise him for it. Or perhaps Rob Zombie's a huge fan and does fan service and makes it like it should be made, and you get all the Munster fans that love it, but all your Rob Zombie fans are going to lose faith in him. They're going to go, "That was stupid." It's like a comedian. It's like when Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler. It's when they take on their serious roles and step away from comedy. You get some people who appreciate it. They look at it and go, "Wow, did a really good job. That was awesome." And then you get some that go, "Nope, not what I expected. It was garbage."
He wasn't funny. What the hell?
I'll watch it. I'm like Halloween. I hope I end up surprised, but again, Rob Zombie could do any filmmaker. I give the benefit of the doubt. If they're a fan of it, they could make it. If they're a good filmmaker, and I believe Rob Zombie's a good filmmaker. I've seen stuff he's done. It's not I wasn't a big fan of House of 1,000 Corpses. But he's got a vision, and he's good at putting that vision out there. Like the camera, the dialogue, they were good films. I don't have to like a film to understand it's a good film, right? Mm. So I look at it on the film aspect. I look at how the camera angles go. How did it flow? Did scenes work here? Did scenes work there? Did the plot follow through? I don't, just because I don't like the storyline doesn't mean it's a bad film.
Yeah, see, that's where I can take that. I mean, you went to film school, so you look at it a little different. Me, I have to be entertained. I have to like the story. I have to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it has to grab.
Not so much with the angles. I mean, you can tell the subtle things, like little things, like I can pick up. Like even in Star Wars Episode 3, like when they showed Obi-Wan Kenobi with the light behind him. And they showed Anakin with the dark behind him in the film, and the angle. Yeah. Like I can pick up something like that, but I have to be entertained with the story.
And that's one thing I loved about Episode 3. Not to get off subject, and Hello Queen, you call me a rage a minute. That's one thing I loved about Episode 3. I would be the first to tell you, George Lucas is a horrible filmmaker. I'm sorry, he is. I can't stand him as a director.
Who?
George Lucas.
Mm-mm.
I can't stand him as a director. I can't. You get him with the right team. He's a great world builder, but I can't stand him as a director. And he doesn't know how to flow the dialogue. He makes the dialogue too choppy. He goes more for an overact type soap opera-y look. You watch the original Star Wars. Watch A New Hope. It's an amazing film because of nostalgia. But George Lucas didn't edit it. He hired an editor, and he had a vision on how it would go. You watch any documentary on that film, the different editing that was going on with that film made it look horrible. They all say it. They all say the first cut of Star Wars was horrid. The editing is what made that movie. And the fact that Lucas brought in other people. I mean, the dialogue was still pretty hokey at some points, but it was new. It was edgy. And he was younger. By the time he made the prequels, the dude couldn't direct worth crap.
I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to do better than say faster or more intense.
Right, yeah. I mean, I can understand that part. I mean, my first wife, her sister went to the University of the Arts here in Philly, and she was concentrating on directing. So with every time we would be watching TV or go to the movies, I would have to hear, the director's commentary from her the whole time through the movie. And I'm like, come on, shut up. But I'd get the whole, well, why not do it from this angle? Why not look up from this to give it this kind of, I'm like, shut up.
Oh, everyone can be a critic. And like I said, I try not to criticize, but a lot of the dialogue in those films were dry. There were decisions but I would say this, out of everything I've seen George Lucas direct, Episode 3 was beautifully directed. I'm sorry. As far as the way camera angles were, undertones, there are some situations that didn't need to be the way they were, but overall, it's my favorite Star Wars film still to date.
Are you talking about George Lucas?
Yeah, we were.
I liked his movie Strange Magic.
Strange Magic was a good one, but that's animated, so it's a lot different when you're doing animation. But yeah, I mean, and the same thing with Spielberg. Spielberg's a great director, and I love the Indiana Jones films, but really, Temple of Doom was hokey. I love it as a kid. When I was a kid, Temple of Doom was my favorite movie. And then when I got older, I was like, now I see why I loved it as a kid.
Last Crusade.
I was a little older when, when they came out. But everybody from Temple of Doom, everybody was running around going, Om Nam Shivaya, Om Nam Shivaya, on the whole, Halima, Shakti, doing the whole big hand thing. But I still like, oh my God, he just said it. The Last Crusade is still my favorite.
Oh, yeah, Last Crusade's amazing. I can't wait to see the 5th one.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they got rid of Shia LaBeouf and the aliens, Crystal Skull crap.
You can't say Crystal Skull crap. How is that not Indiana Jones? How is having Crystal Skull and interdimensional beings not Indiana Jones? I mean, come on. The first one was a box that melted the faces off when they opened it. The second one was a dude that could use the power of a little head to rip the heart out of a guy and watch it burn as the guy melted down below. The third one was if you drank from the wrong one, you turn into a skeleton.
I didn't have a problem with the interdimensional alien stuff. Shia LaBeouf ruined that movie for me.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf was god-awful.
That's what I mean. He ruined that movie for me. They were concentrating too much on him.
The only scene that I really despise in that movie is the Shia LaBeouf Tarzan scene.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna swing on vines. Like all they would have had to do was have a bike.
The three were magic, and then the fourth one came.
All they would have had to do was have a bike fall off one of the trucks.
Yeah.
And when Shia LaBeouf gets knocked off, see the bike,
and just ride up along,
and then ride the bike. Oh my gosh! Now it makes sense. He's a mechanic called Mutt, and they just utilize that part of the story to fit in here, so it continually makes sense. No, you're going to have this mechanic be like, I can swing on vines because I see monkeys doing it.
Well, they were trying to make, I know they were, when the article I read, they were saying they were trying to slowly phase him in
As the
you
new
know,
Indiana.
the son of Indiana Jones, the new, star of these type of movies, and I can't stand him. I never could. Nothing he did. I can't.
I was
stand
right there. And you know who else agrees with you?
Who's that?
Shia LaBeouf. Have you seen that situation where he sat down and watched all of his movies?
No.
And he kept posting pictures of like while he's watching them. And he's like, there's pictures of him watching one of his movies and he's just sleeping. And the next one is he's watching, he's just rolling his eyes like, oh God. Like, he went through, that's why he doesn't make big budget films anymore. He went through and looked at his, he's like, this stuff sucks.
I like this
I-
movie.
I
And
like
now
the
he's doing all these-
Transformers. I like
he's getting-
Transformers, but
See, but he's doing these indie films and he's doing amazing with it. You know, and that's how it is. Things change. Look at Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves couldn't act his way out of a paper bag, and he got, famous with playing Neo, and still had a problem. But now he's back in the mix. Another one was, what's his name? No, but he was in this. This actor was actually in the running to play Anakin, and he didn't get the job because apparently he couldn't act that well. His name is eluding me for some stupid reason I can't think of it.
Wilson?
No,
what else?
his
was he
name
in?
is eluding me for some stupid reason I can't think of it. But he was in Titanic. He was in
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Leonardo DiCaprio. The dude couldn't act worth crap. The dude couldn't act worth crap in the 90s. I'm sorry. The only good role he did was What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I mean, I guess you could count Critters 3, but
No, we don't count Critters 3.
he was horrible in Titanic. He was horrible in a lot of crap he did. And then he vanished for a little bit. And then he comes back and he does.
Romeo and Juliet was pretty good when he
Romeo
was
and
younger.
Juliet was horrid.
I liked it. I did.
Horrible.
I like the movie.
I like the
Until ending.
concept of it. I don't think it was the acting so much. I like the concept of it as the Shakespearean play in LA, modern day LA. I think that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I like that. What gets
It
me
was-
is the
it was-
ending, and I
it was-
know the ending is like, oh, whatever. But what gets me is at the ending, whoever the female actress is,
Hollow Queen liked him in Titanic and Romeo and Juliet.
He was not great in those movies. His acting was dry, and it was like he was reading off the back of a piece of paper someone was holding up. I'm sorry. It
fun
was.
fact, you know,
And that's why Romeo and Juliet was so horrible, is because the only believable delivery
Yeah, he was worth the
in
price of an
Romeo and
Xbox.
Juliet, the only believable delivery I saw in Romeo and Juliet was John Leguizamo. He's the only one in that entire movie that I believed what he was saying. Everyone else felt stale and stiff.
That ending part.
They did. I'm sorry. They felt stale and stiff in there and what they get. And it's same with, Titanic was a great movie, but at the same time, again, he felt stale and stiff in that movie. He did not. You
I think
compare
he
to
was-
how he was in Titanic, sit around and watch him in Inception or a better one yet. What's the one he did with Mark Ruffalo?
Leave me alone.
Come on. Hello, Queen, you know it. What's the one he did with Mark Ruffalo?
That's crash.
He goes to the island to investigate a missing inmate.
Great Gatsby.
No.
Oh, Forrest Gump.
Hey, I liked
Before
him in The
Big
Great Gatsby. I don't care what I liked him in The Great Gatsby.
I have not watched Great Gatsby all the way through, but what I have seen is amazing. A lot of the stuff he was in was just amazing.
Shutter Island?
He came back. Yes,
You said
Shutter Island.
I didn't see
Shutter
that.
Island. When that movie came out, and I was like, and I watched it, I was like, holy crap, what happened? Blood Diamond, was he in Blood Diamond?
Yeah.
Was that another one? I was like, what in the world? Like, he had straight up, I've seen accents done, and his South African accent was spot on. Listening to other South Africans talk, boom. I've met people from South Africa that were like, yeah, man, spot on. I mean, the dude came back, left for a little bit, and came back. And it was like, where the heck have you been?
Definitely, if you want to see good, Watch The Great Gatsby with him in it. I'll tell you what, Robert Redford in the 70s Great Gatsby, Leo blew it away. And there they did, it was more close to the book. But when he turned around, when he said with Gatsby, he's got the little champagne glass, held the champagne glass up, it's been a meme. Oh, he was Gatsby right there, man. It was great.
Harley Quinn hates Gatsby. Like I said,
I love it. I loved it.
He was amazing in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but everything else he did in the 90s, but Basketball Diaries, wasn't a fan. Titanic, wasn't a fan.
I think they hired him more for the whole baby heartthrob look.
It was a look casting.
Right.
And I just, and I can watch Titanic. I can get through Titanic. I have issues with Titanic. It's the same with Pearl Harbor. I can watch Pearl Harbor. I can get through Pearl Harbor.
I can't watch it.
But I'm like, really? I'm sorry. I like Ben Affleck and I like Josh Hartnett. But why in the world did they get no? The moment they ran out, the bombs are dropping. Boom, boom, boom. And then you see Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck run out and they get in planes and take off. Like, what? Let me pull up my history book here.
Yeah, right.
0 planes took off.
Yeah.
I said 2. 0 planes took off.
Well,
there's 2.
We'll call it
really?
artistic.
You're going to make a movie based off true events. Make a movie based off true events.
Yeah, call it artistic license on their part, I guess. But I'm like Jay and Silent Bob. I'm like, Affleck, you rocked in Phantoms, yo. I like Affleck.
I can watch the movie. I can enjoy the movie. I can enjoy minor situations, but when you completely and totally base a situation on an event and it's completely fictional at that point,
right? I can't really watch Pearl Harbor. Like I couldn't watch Saving Private Ryan either. Everybody tells me it's a great movie, but I couldn't get past the first 5 minutes of it. I had to leave the theater. I couldn't watch it.
PTSD or just not acting enough?
I couldn't watch it. I had to get up. I started sweating and getting cold and shaky. I had to get up and leave. Just like
movies you probably haven't been able to watch. One of my favorite movies, We Were Soldiers.
I haven't seen that either.
A beautiful film. They did that movie. It's based off true events. One of the characters, one of the people that the characters portrayed on, went to the movie to watch it. Like he was at the premiere. And he was bawling his eyes out.
I think I saw that one with
Mel Gibson and
isn't that the one they said Sam Elliott did a thing at the beginning of that? Yeah.
Mel Gibson and Sam Elliott.
Yeah. I saw Sam Elliott give the speech before the movie or after it or something like that when they introduced the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought me to tears.
Yeah, the guy went and watched the premiere and what's his name? The filmmaker. Hold on. I got to think of it. Chris? No. I can't remember the filmmaker's name. Help me out here, guys. Come on. Help me out. All right. Well, you can help me out with this one. What was Mel Gibson's character in Braveheart?
William Wallace?
Wallace. Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace. Okay.
Wallace, because it's the same team, right? Yeah. Him and Mel Gibson worked on Braveheart, and he let Mel Gibson direct. And Mel Gibson won Academy Awards for Braveheart.
Right.
So then when they got together and did We Were Soldiers, Mel Gibson goes, "Can I direct?" And he goes, "No."
Damn.
I'm directing this one. So, but he was talking about it, and he was worried because the guy watched it and like didn't say anything, just got up and left before it was even over. He just got up and left. He's like, "Oh God, I did a horrible job," and he's like, "I had to go out and make sure everything was okay." Got up, walked out there, and the guy's just sitting out there crying. And he goes, what? He's like, it's beautiful. He's like, you got the essence of everybody I was with. It was just, it brings back a lot. It is, you did, yeah, I mean, it was an emotional moment. And it just makes that movie so much better for me, knowing that,
Yeah.
After reading that, I was like, man, that's how you do a movie, and like Braveheart's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I know the Queen, a lot of the stuff in it wasn't historically accurate. So that does make me somewhat of a hypocrite because I have an issue with Titanic and Pearl Harbor because of Braveheart having its situations. I think after 300-400 years, you can have historical inaccuracies.
Yeah.
I'll say 300 years. 300 years is the mark.
Actually, it's almost 500 years. It was like, what, 1600?
Yeah, well, and then The Patriot was an amazing movie.
I like The Patriot.
But at the same time, The Patriot didn't try to say it was basing itself on one specific event. It was basing itself off the Revolutionary War.
Right.
Where Pearl Harbor was basing itself off Pearl Harbor. Titanic was basing itself off Titanic. But when you've got a few hundred years in between, you can have differences. But Pearl Harbor, there were people alive still when Pearl Harbor came out that were in the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Right. Well, how Queen says it, the purpose of the movie is to entertain, not educate. The educating is if you're going to educate, then you're watching a documentary. That would be like, a movie on Pompeii and just being like, what was that noise? And then have it go down and that kind of thing.
There is.
But you can have a movie be entertaining and still not be.
To an extent,
They all die.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks when you know the ending too. But
Titanic, they all die. Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's the end of Titanic. You think they'll save the boat this time? You think they'll save the boat this time? You never know.
The boat sinks.
Yeah.
Where's our new Hindenburg movie? We need a new Hindenburg movie.
I don't know. I'm just waiting to see what they're coming out with because everything I see now that's coming out is like either rehashes or reboots or like they're giving things different names where you can see they're kind of like a redo of a movie that was, beyond.
It's been like that for 30 years, Pizza.
Yeah.
It's been like that for 30 years. The 90s came out with some new stuff, but we've been in the 70s. We had a bunch of rehashes of 30s and 40s movies.
Right. I mean, there's only so many different ideas. I mean, I'm trying to watch this. What is the one? Fear Street on Netflix right now. The 1990. It's in the three installments.
Yeah, it's on different years.
I think the one I just watched was the 1994, the first one.
Well, I don't know what it is. I never watched.
It's either 87, 94, and then something else. That's the one I'm watching right now. I have Evil on my playlist, waiting for that one. Tomorrow War is coming tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly, Hella Queen. Leaving those little tiny things, leaving those out, leaving out to California. It just stupid stuff, but
Did you watch the movie that you were watching?
this is what it is. Which one is that? Tomorrow War?
I don't. Is it this one?
The one with Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that one last week, didn't we?
yeah, that one. I got that one scheduled for tomorrow. Actually, when I get up.
He's got it scheduled to watch tomorrow. He's got
I
a
actually-
schedule.
For some
Crash,
reason-
what you think about that? I watched a couple other movies that were interesting. One was Bliss with Owen Wilson and Selma Hayek.
I can't stand
I haven't seen
him.
that one.
Crashly hated the movie. She said it was dumb. I thought it was amazing because the entire movie you're sitting there going, "What?" You're literally trying to
I
understand.
did that. I said what? Like
You're
what?
you're
I don't
trying
like
to understand what's going on throughout the entire movie because that's the position of the film. It's designed to make you go, "Wait a minute,
Why
is
am I watching
no
this?
what? Like what, is this the no? Are they gonna no?" And then then the end hits and you're like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." That's
See, I would be frustrated through that whole movie.
Me too.
yeah, crashing.
I probably wouldn't be able to finish it. I'd be like, "Oh, this is bullshit," And I'd
No,
walk away.
give it a shot, Pizza. Give it a shot.
I have an idea.
It was.
I have my attention span with the ADHD and everything like that, and the OCD. Certain things, if I have to think too hard watching a movie, like I'd be sitting there like, what the?
Give it tomorrow.
And then I can't watch movies without.
I'll give you a small premise without doing many spoilers. Okay. Owen Wilson is somewhat of a business guy, and he's, you can tell he's gone through divorce type thing. His daughter's going through going to graduate, and she's wanting to be at graduation. And he goes to take some pills, calls the doctor's office. They said script's out, or the pharmacy said his script's out. His doctor's got to send in a refill. And then he's like, whatever. They come to his office, say, hey, you need to go to the boss's office. He goes to the boss's office and gets fired, basically. This all happens within the first 5 minutes of the film, so it can't be considered a huge spoiler. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, some stuff happens. He ends up in a bar across the street, meets Salma Hayek there, and some crazy snikt starts happening. And you're like, okay, like it's going this route. Like, oh, okay, this is kind of like the Matrix type thing going on. What's going on?
I'd be like, I'd get too frustrated probably by 30 minutes into this movie. I would be like, what the? Come on.
It was about 30 minutes, and I was like, I'm out. Bye.
But then it makes you believe that it's some sort of. It makes you believe that it's similar to the Matrix.
Things are fake.
Innocent. It makes you believe that they're in a fake world. But it makes you question whether that's true or not, based on how it's going.
That's why I can't watch movies with Val. Like, I tried watching movies like that, like the M. Night Shyamalan movies, like The Village, things like that. Mm-hmm. I'll be sitting there going, wait, maybe, and then she'll be like, oh, they're not in a real village. It's a thing like, and I'm like,
it was all a dream.
I'll be like, shut up.
She ruins it for you.
Yeah, spoilers usually don't bother me, but when she gets the whole bang twist of the movie within 20 minutes, I'm like, shut up.
I actually got that. We talked about it earlier. That movie.
Kerwin fucking does every single time.
Shutter Island. When the first time I watched Shutter Island, I accidentally screwed it up for my friend who was watching it with me because I wasn't thinking. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, holy crap. And I said what the entire twist was.
What was it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give a spoiler in case somebody hasn't watched the movie.
What movie is it?
Oh,
Never seen
The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. I'm sitting there watching that, and I knew there was something going on, and I'm right about to, like, in my head, ready to go, and Val goes, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, F you. I was like, F you, F you.
Well, that was the beauty about this movie Bliss, right? The beauty about the movie Bliss is it's not really like a twist type thing. It's not like you're sitting there waiting for a twist or, oh, this was a twist. You're watching it. All right, full disclosure, spoiler alerts. If you're rewatching the stream and you're going to check this movie out, skip past this part. I'll do this when I'm done. All right. Now, he goes through, and Salma Hayek looks at him while he's in the bar, and she goes, you're real. And he's like, what? She's like, you're real. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, you're real. Everyone else here is fake. And she goes, watch this. She waves her arm. And the guy carrying a platter, it flies out of his hand.
Oh, see, I wouldn't be able to do it. I would not be able to get invested in some shit like that. I would just be like, no. I don't know. It would just be like,
you watched
I don't know. I can't do it.
Did you not watch The Matrix?
I didn't like The Matrix either.
Oh, you didn't like The Matrix?
Nope.
Well, it boils down to where she ends up telling him that they're married, they're both scientists, and they're plugged into this machine that's having them live this world.
That would have lost me right there.
Well, she has him take these, like they do these blue things, and it brings them out of the machine. It was an exit strategy type thing. They have to take the pills, and they're out of the machine. And now they're walking around, but they didn't take enough, so they're still feeling the effects of the old world, of the world they were plugged into. Well, by the time it all happens, spoiler alert, you're sitting through the movie going, what? What? Really? Like, is it true? Is it not? Spoiler alert, he watches her do it when she's going to be getting arrested. He, like, gets this look on his face and just starts running. And then walks up and walks into a rehab center and sits down. And then they start talking about the drug called Bliss. The dude's been on a trip this whole time. He's been, drugged up for months on this Bliss, on this new state-of-the-art drug. And I was just like, that's brilliant.
I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do it at all.
Great. All right, spoilers done.
So stupid.
Yeah. It's like, take the blue pill or the red pill and you can come out now. Take the blue pill.
It wasn't exactly like The Matrix. It was going about what if The Matrix was basically a drug trip.
I'd kind of be like Crash. I'd be with Crashly on this one. I have to be.
You can't do. Not every film is everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. With me, I have to be entertained. I like a twist every now and then.
Why?
But if the whole movie is going, what? No. What? Huh? Did that? No, I can't do it. I can't do it. The whole thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. Not everybody likes. See, I love a movie that makes me think. I love a movie that makes my brain go, really? What? Like, I get engulfed in it, and it's like
equations in my head.
I like one. Usually, when I'm going to the movies or something like that, or watching a movie, I don't want to think anymore. I just want to be entertained. I mean, there are certain movies I'll watch, like a good thriller or a horror movie where you have to think a little ahead, like a mystery or something. I like that.
Have you watched Shutter Island?
No, I've never seen that one.
Watch Shutter Island. It's a good one.
I'll take a look.
I'll
put that on the list. For some reason lately, ever since I've been home with this disability thing, for some reason my eyes are popping open every morning at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I've never been a morning person. I've threatened to punch my kids in the throat if they wake me up before noon usually. Yeah, it's like, what do I say to Matthew? I'm like, Matthew, what did Dad say? Anything before noon is a punch in the throat.
Same basic principle, pizza. If you work all week and you got to get up early, it's a pain in the butt. The weekend hits, that you're caught up on everything. You don't have anything to do. You're like, I'm going to sleep in. You wake up early.
I used to work nights too. That's what used to get me. I worked nights. For some reason, 7:30, 6, 7, I'm like going. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? and then all of a sudden you're sitting there going, I should be sleeping. Then you're like, crap, I got to pee. I'm up. Yeah. And then,
I'm glad I didn't spoil Shutter Island. Hollow Queen hasn't watched that one either.
We're going to watch it tonight.
All right, we won't talk about that, but we'll check it out. Maybe that'll be the big discussion next week. Shutter Island. People will watch Shutter Island. Come here, you.
I watched a few movies. I watched one with Bruce Willis. The Breach. Wasn't a fan.
Nope.
With practical effects, they tried to CGI it on a low budget. It would have been better on practical effects, and the ending was just corny as all heck.
He's getting to be my big. Here's my big boy here.
Wait, what about the movie we watched?
He's getting big.
One's already been talking about.
When did he watch it?
Which one?
The Dave Bautista zombie flick. It
was so good.
Zack Snyder zombie movie that was on Netflix or Netflix.
I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
I'm not really a zombie fan.
It was the one with where they were in Vegas and yeah.
No. My thing with anything that has to do with zombie anymore, I watched half an episode of The Walking Dead, and that's as far as I got. I never watched them. I couldn't get into it. Dawn of the Dead, I think I watched, Night of the Living Dead back in the day. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I watched those three. And I've watched the Resident Evil sort of movies, like sort of zombie, if you want to call them zombie. But Although, with the Resident Evil, Robbie actually wanted to get vaccinated for this whole thing. He wanted the vaccine because he was tired of it. So after he got it, the day after he got the first shot, he came downstairs and he's going, stars, like Project Nemesis and stuff. I'm like, oh good, I got to shoot my kid in the head.
Well, he gave you the opening, you know.
It was good. It was good.
Oh,
and,
man.
Yeah, speaking of Robbie, I just got today. We made the appointment for his senior pictures now. He's a senior this year coming up.
Congrats.
My son-in-law.
Congrats.
Your sidekick, yep, 17 years old, working.
My son-in-law.
Son-in-law? How is your son-in-law?
Nora likes him.
Because of Nora. That's
Yeah.
why. I was like, what?
He's getting his senior pictures taken Monday. It just seems like yesterday we brought his big ass home.
Yeah, it's always funny.
Well, we say big because he was 10'7" when he was born.
Yeah.
He was
So,
Whew.
and now he's getting his graduation pictures.
There you go.
good job pushing that thing out. Oh, jeez.
Well, I know you haven't watched Bad Batch, but you're going to get some spoilers because I want to talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me.
Did you watch Star Wars Rebels?
Some of it.
Well, if you watched Rebels at all, and you watched Bad Batch, you saw at the very beginning we got the Jedi at the very beginning of Bad Batch.
Yeah.
We got what was his name? Cody.
Cody.
No, it wasn't Cody.
Which one?
It was the Jedi, the one that gets blinded in Rebels.
Oh, the one from the beginning of Bad Batch that was a kid.
We got him. Now, in Rebels, he had a love interest.
That's how you ended up 11.
What?
In Rebels, he had a love interest. She was another major player. She was the pilot. She was like the second in command.
Right.
Hera Zendula.
Yeah.
The last episode of Bad Batch was dedicated solely to her. The whole episode is her. The Bad Batch shows up at one point, but Hera Zendula, Kanan, that's what it was. Thanks, Hella Queen. We get a Hera Zendula origin story. It was freaking sweet.
Oh,
and
nice.
it continues on to this coming episode.
Okay. Now, didn't they just get the guys? Didn't Cody just get all the crap out of their heads and stuff?
Yes, Cody got all the crap out of their heads, and then they had the situation with the bounty hunters. They find out why the Kaminoans, the Kamonians, or whatever, Kaminoans,
whatever they are.
the long-necked people.
The
They found out why pencil necks are going after the kid.
Because it's I know it's what's his name? Sister, yeah.
And then
I got that far.
And then sorry, Hollow Queen, don't mean to spoil stuff for you.
Sorry.
And then after that, I think it's just a filler episode, basically. I mean, they didn't really do much. They just sort of did their own little thing I don't know. I think they did something to her. I think she's more than just an unaltered clone. I think there's a little bit more to her because she still has that strategy thing going on, you know? Like they did an entire episode, like the episode before this last one was showing how, that chess game with the creatures that C-3PO or R2 plays Chewie against.
Yeah.
She sits there and, she's a whiz at it. She's like the Bobby Fischer of that game type thing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, are they still going somewhere with this type stuff? But you never know. I don't know. I'm stoked because I hope she shows up in Book of Boba Fett. I really do.
I'm waiting for Kanan to come back somewhere in the Bad Batch too.
I would like for Kanan to come back. However, I'm okay if he doesn't because when they brought the clones back in Rebels, he had an issue working with them because of the situation of Order 66.
Okay.
So if they were to bring Kanan back and there be something to go on where he's okay with the Bad Batch, then when it sort of makes that situation with the clones in Rebels, it kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Now, Kanan does have a Star Wars first that people don't know about, unless you
Okay.
actually watch them and pay attention to. Well, a lot of people had the issue in episode 8, as they call it, Mary Poppins Leia scene, where she uses the Force to go back from space to the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People had issues with that, right? Well, before that scene was ever made, before that movie was made, there's an episode of Rebels where Kanan gets shot off of a dock off of a dock or whatever into
Yeah.
space, and he uses the Force to take him back into it.
Oh, okay.
He force pulls himself back to the dock. It wasn't like everybody hated that in 8. To me, that's the least of it in 8, but he actually did that in Rebels before she did that. So it wasn't something they created for episode 8. But no, I love this whole Hera Syndulla storyline because, she became a classic with Rebels. They name dropped her in
Boba Fett.
episode 4 prequel.
Oh.
What was it? Star
Rogue
Wars.
One? Rogue One?
They name dropped her in Rogue One. But yeah, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden I see Chopper. I'm like, it's Chopper! Yeah! Nerding out on it.
I was happy, like Hollow Queen. I was happy that they made Leia kind of a Jedi. Like in the last episode when they showed them training and she had her own lightsaber and all that. I was kind of like, that was kind of a good point for me. I was like, oh, cool. I'd like to see them do something with, I know Bad Batch is supposed to be set kind of before Rebels.
It is.
I want to see something with the little Jedi trainee from Rebels go further. I'd like to see something with him.
Oh, they're planning on it.
What?
They're planning on it.
Really?
Yeah, because the thing is Kanan trains him.
Yeah.
For Rebels. Kanan dies. Rebels ends with him following. What's his name? Timothy Zahn created the character. What's the character's name? Ella Queen, help me out here.
The last episode I think I saw of Rebels was they were trying to find the Sith holocron and he was with Maul.
Oh, you gotta catch up. There's a lot. Admiral Thrawn. Yes, I see
Thrawn?
it now. I saw it before. I thought of it before that. Thrawn. They bring Thrawn into it, and spoiler alert for Rebels, it ends with him defeating Thrawn, but they both get sucked across the galaxy. And that's why in Mandalorian Season 2, Ahsoka
looking for Thrawn.
is looking for Thrawn to find him, to find the Jedi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Ahsoka was with them in the Sith when she fought Vader.
Yes. Ahsoka comes back shortly before that situation because he does find the holocrons and he gets Ezra.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Ezra.
they're trying to find Ezra. So they're bringing Ezra. The plan, I don't know if they're bringing him back, but they're looking for Ezra. That was the whole thing with bringing in Ahsoka in Mandalorian because the last episode of Rebels starts before episode 6 or before episode 4 and ends after episode 6. It has a situation like it has an epilogue at the end. And the epilogue is the Mandalorian girl, the one that Ezra's love interest type thing. I can't remember her name. I'm horrible with names right now. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
She's giving a little epilogue to it, and she goes, "Yeah, we won. The rebels won. The Empire was toppled, so on and so forth." And she's sitting there in their little tower that she hung out with Ezra in, and then it shows Ahsoka showing up, and then they leave Sabine. Yeah, and Ahsoka and Sabine leave to go find Ezra.
Maybe that's what they'll do on the Ahsoka spinoff.
That's the plan. That's why Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn.
Okay, yeah. I know they said something about wanting to have Benedict Cumberbatch as Thrawn.
Please no.
I know. I don't really know too much about Thrawn other than the little drops here and there. I never really watched too much.
I like Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor, but this whole trying to shoehorn him in as every popular villain, like, oh, he needs to be Khan. Oh, he needs to be this. They constantly throw his name out there that he needs to be. Please no.
I think when they made him Khan, that just kind of crapped everything for me. With him, if they would have made him Gary Mitchell, like I thought it was supposed to be, that would have been the shit right there. That would have been it for me. I loved it.
It was like, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
but no, that was the whole thing, and I love the fact that now we're getting a Hera Syndulla origin story in the Bad Batch. It brings it. It literally will. It lets you sit down and watch those. Boom! It's closing the gap, and we are also getting with doing this. We're getting this building of the Empire story told to us.
Well, the First Order would probably be the First Order then, wouldn't it? Building of the First Order?
No.
Because if they're going from before episode 4 to after episode 6.
That was the last episode of Rebels. The Bad Batch is you watch.
The Bad Batch is building the Empire from the Republic.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Sort of like how when you watch the last episode of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's before episode 3 and after episode 3. By the time it ends, it works with it.
Right.
And then Rebels is mainly before episode 4, but that final episode sort of talks of what happened
after 6
through that trilogy. But the Bad Batch is giving us that building of the Empire, like how these different planets had to deal with it, how the Empire is going out. The transition from clone troopers to stormtroopers. It's amazing.
Yeah, I did like that. I thought that was, like, you could tell Governor Tarkin, Grand Moff Tarkin, with the whole how he doesn't like clones and he wants conscriptions. Are the clones going to work and all that kind of thing was kind of cool.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Okay, I'm not as far behind as I thought I was then.
Well, you're still a little far behind, but at the same time, I've been spoiling it for you.
Spoilers never got me. They never bothered me. You could tell me a whole movie how it's going to end, and then all I want to do is see how they did it, how the movie played out to that. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me.
I'm the same way because the majority of the time, I can see the twist coming.
Yeah.
A majority of the time, I can see it because I know who makes the film usually. Like when you go, The Sixth Sense, I saw it coming somewhat, but I didn't see it completely. But then every other movie he made after that, I could see it coming because I knew who it was, who made it.
The Sixth Sense, I did not. You know what? For some reason, that one just took me completely by surprise. I don't know how it got me. It just, boom. I did not see it coming until Val. Oh, look at that. It's going to be. I'm like, shut up. She got me good.
Yeah, it was one of those that, with Sixth Sense, it wasn't one of those that I was like, oh, yeah. I was entertaining the idea as it was going on.
Yeah.
The moment he talks about this and that and the way everything was acting around him and stuff like that.
I kind of thought that.
I was like, I think he's dead. But it wasn't like this is what it is. But then when Signs came out and they started doing the whole, as the movie goes out, I'm like, oh, this is going to happen. That's how it's going to happen. This and this. Oh, yeah, that and this is going to happen. Stuff like that. Unbreakable, that was obvious whether it was M. Night Shyamalan or not. That twist was a given.
I kind of thought he was dead for a while, but then the scene where they had him sitting in the same room with the mother, I realized they didn't say anything to each other through the whole scene, but that's what threw me, when the mother and him were in the same room as the kid together in The Sixth Sense. That's what threw me. But Signs, you kind of predicted the whole through. Unbreakable, that went the whole way through. You could tell that.
The village, I somewhat got it through it. I mean, once they were, I mean, it basically got to that point. They had a lot of. It was a tombstone. I saw a tombstone. I was watching The Village. It was before they even left. I saw a tombstone, and I was like, "That's not that time frame."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, well now I know it's not in that time frame, because why have a tombstone like that?" The dates on the tombstone gave that one away. But I still loved The Village because out of all the movies he made up to that point, there was a supernatural effect to it, right?
Right.
The
Right.
Sixth Sense, you had the whole Sixth Sense aspect. You know, Unbreakable, you had the superhero aspect. Signs, you had aliens. The Village, there was no supernatural effect. They were straight up, even when they're like, "Oh, this creature is it was fake. You know, we made him up. You need to go get the medicine." And then the creature shows up. He's a psycho.
Yeah.
It's that he's literally can kill them. like it's like, this is cool because it's not supernatural. It's literally a guy who's crazy trying to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some of his movies I can kind of like. The Sixth Sense was very entertaining for me, and watching it. But then when it was spoiled like that, I was like, nah, you know.
That's what I was looking. Timothy Zahn is going to be in Kansas City.
Okay.
The guy who made Thrawn, as well as William Zabka from Karate Kid, Cobra Kai.
Which one is he? The
What's his name?
Oh,
Not
Johnny.
Danny.
Johnny.
Yeah. And then the bad guy, his sensei is going to be there too.
Oh yeah, Reese or whatever.
Yeah, Reese.
Yeah, he always plays such a good bad guy, and I've seen him in person at one place in California, like when I was stationed at Camp Pendleton. We went to an event.
When does what release? Kimoka, when does what release? I'm curious. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's funny listening to the guy too because he's Australian, and it's like when you hear it when you've seen him as Reese for so long, and then all of a sudden he comes up and he's talking to you. And he's Australian. I'm like, ew.
Come on, Kimoka. I'm not. When does what release? Questioning.
Yeah, I see. What are we releasing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully they respond. Kimoka Records. Maybe they're here for a record deal.
Yeah, my thing. Like I'm usually not into the cartoons, but like Lower Decks has me in because I just think it's funny. It's like stupid funny, and it still stays within Star Trek. You know.
That's what has me turned off by it a little bit.
It's Trek, but it's funny. It's got like it's adult cartoonish, but it's not like Rick and Morty and all that stuff that I can't stand. You know, I'm not a Rick and Morty person. I used to watch The Family Guy for a while because some of that
I was like hardcore watching Family Guy, and then I tried going back and watching it the other day, and I'm just like,
yeah, I can't anymore.
Like I'm not even finding myself laughing at half the stuff I used to think was hilarious.
Yeah,
Same with South Park.
I've been on a Kevin. I can't watch South Park at all. I can't do it. Some of it's funny every now and then, like with Cartman trying to kill what's his name. He's hitting him with a wiffle bat.
I used to watch it and laugh at everything, but now I watch it and it's just like half the stuff I'm just like,
what are we doing? I've been on a Kevin Smith kick lately. A lot of his stuff. I watch his An Evening with Kevin Smith. We have part 2, An Evening with Kevin Smith, bigger and better or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the movies. Like, I can't watch Jersey Girl. Chasing Amy was okay. But like Clerks 2, The Silent Bob. And then
the Silent Bob reboot was amazing.
I loved that. I loved it. I like his little tribute to Stan Lee at the end too, and George Carlin. And but I thought that was funny. He even made fun of himself, like with his daughter. I hear he forces his daughter to be in everything. I can't stand that about him.
He'll laugh at himself. That's what makes him awesome. I think I think he'd be a cool dude to hang out with.
And I like how they push the thing about his weight in the reboot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, what is it? You have a weight problem, and he's all, and they go through the whole thing, and then with the phone now, he's doing with the phone.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer and Melissa Benoist is Blunt Man and Chronic now. Chong. It's Chong.
Oh, I
Chong
don't
is Alfred.
I don't know who they are.
Good boy.
Oh man, yeah, no, I loved that. I want to take it all in. You know, there's that reminded me. Comic book world. I know we're circling back. We're doing some circle back here. Comic book world. Have you been paying attention to the DC universe and what's going on with the comics in DC?
Yes.
What's your take on it? What's your take on this Omniverse situation?
I think it's another grab that they don't know what they're doing and they're trying to reboot everything again. And trying to restart it all.
It's sort of like a
rehash of everything.
It's a rewind. I'll say it's sort of a rewind. Because before the 80s, you had different books, different universes. You could have a book where Superboy was out and Bruce's dad had just got killed after his mom was killed when he was younger and all kinds of stuff like that. You know, you had, excuse me, thank you. You had those situations where it all went, and that's why they went ahead and did Crisis so they could bring them all to one universe. And then they were doing all that. From what I was reading, is the Omniverse is sort of the reverse of that. They're having it to where that now they can do whatever. They'll still have some continuity books, but the writers and stuff can do whatever they want and take the stories however they want.
That's what gets me. It's like they've run out of a way to stay, it's like they ran out of shit to do, so now they can just change it all and do what they want. It's another way to really redo everything again. It seems lazy to me. I don't know.
It's DC. Well, do you know what's going on in the Marvelverse?
Actually, I do not.
Some people are
DC
upset with it, and some people are okay with it. I'm one of those that's okay with it because I grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Well, yeah.
I loved the stories. They're bringing back Clone Saga Spider-Man.
Okay.
Dan Riley hopefully coming back, man.
Well, yeah, I heard they were going to kill off,
That's
I don't want to say it.
That's a rumor too. That means I need to start putting Spider-Man on my pull list so I can get those so I can read them.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want to have to add more to my pull list because that's more money.
Yeah.
But
mine is very. I have my pull list at the store down to like a bare minimum. The 3 Supermans, the 3 Batmans, a Harley Quinn, and a Catwoman. Anything else is pretty much gravy after that, whatever I grab.
Well, I think I'm going to start putting Spider-Man on there. Amazing Spider-Man. I've got Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, or whatever.
And speaking of Harley Quinn, that picture I sent Crashly, if she wants to use that, tell her go ahead and use it. Just if she wants to make the thing with it.
If you want to use it, go ahead and use it. Whatever you guys were talking about.
If anybody wants it after that, we'll talk. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. But, I've got that one. I've got them pulling Nice House on the Lake because, one, I've heard good things about it. I wish I'd have gotten Something That's Killing the Children. I heard that's a really good story.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, ooh, I'm going to check it out. And I went to go buy the books. And I'm like, looks like I'm not checking it out because the books are outrageously overpriced right now.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And then there's a Stray Dog story out there that I think everyone's talking about as being good. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I would check out the books and oh my God, why are these so overpriced? What is the reason? Why are brand new books going for hundreds of dollars? This makes no sense to me. They're brand new books. What's up, J-Rob?
Hey! There are right here 2 Batman stories that I've been following. It's the first one of this one, but I just got number 4 of 4 of Second Son, Batman Second Son. Good story. Definitely a good story. I won't spoil that one. I'm still on Black and White, Batman Black and White.
Yeah.
I just got number 6 of that. That's good. But now they have a new Batman story called The Signal, Secret Files, Batman Secret Files. I just got number 1 of that. I'm waiting
Interesting.
to see what they do with that. Like, I saw all these new books this last week, and I was like, ooh, let me check it out, let me check it out, let me check it out. It's dangerous when I do that.
Yeah.
Because then he tells me how much they are, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I know I've got I've got Spawn on my pull list, obviously, because it's Spawn.
I will say I am into the Marvel Universe a little bit, because I got this from Matthew.
Ultraman, yeah.
They made him officially the Marvel Universe, so...
And I know that when they come out with the new Moon Knight, I'm going to have that on my pull list. 'Cause I don't know, the artwork on that, from what I've seen, is just beautiful.
Thanks, Jen. My shirt, I'm in my lower decks mode because I'm waiting for it to come out. So I got my lower decks on. That episode's coming out. I used to collect the Tomb of Dracula and stuff when I was a kid in the 70s. And I started collecting, they got the Cult of Dracula now.
Yeah.
So I've been collecting that one. I always stick to Catwoman. Catwoman's always one of my, yeah, here's Batman's Second Son. This is number 3 of 4. But, and we always pull Harley. We always pull Harley. They're doing a lot with her. They're doing a lot in these series with her.
She's turned into the new... I'm going to say it. I truly think DC is turning her into DC's version of Deadpool.
I wouldn't doubt it. They came with a big free Marvel book this week. It's like pretty thick of like a preview of everything.
Yeah, the Marvel
like Spider-Man 74 and
yeah.
And I did grab
having Spider-Man pulled.
And they started with Punchline in her own series now.
And see, I should go pull that one. Is the artwork any cool? I mean, is it?
This is it right here. Punchline number 1 right here. What she used to be when she was a reporter, and Punchline.
See, the artwork isn't screaming to me.
It's kind of, it's very standard artwork to me. It's like they're trying to make it a little surreal with some of it.
Oh yeah, well, Jen's gonna start Willow out right reading comics to her. That's awesome.
There you go. It's like this kind of stuff.
Okay, all right. Is the storyline at least decent?
I only started a couple pages of this. I want to wait until I can sit down and like absorb the story kind of thing a little bit. The Harley one, they're really doing well. I was surprised because they've had a few Harley titles so far. They've had like, Gotham Sirens. They've had Harley Quinn or Harley Gang, all the different ones. Now that they've given her own serious storyline and book, it's been really good. They got her.
Right.
She's like the answer.
That's honestly why I hadn't really gotten any of the Harley stuff lately. With that was I loved her character in Batman Adventures.
Right.
And I loved where her character was going, and then it just felt like they derailed her.
Yeah, it's like they threw her off for a while, but they really got her back on track now.
I mean, it turned into, like, she was starting out, her character, it felt like her character was, for me, from what I gathered from Harley's character, from what I read, she was an independent, sophisticated woman that went crazy because of the Joker, became dependent on him, and it felt like they were taking her character back to where we had Harley back up to Harley Quinzel's
they got
Harley Quinzel's level. And then it just felt like right when they got to that point, it's like they smacked her and made her dependent on Poison Ivy, and then made her dependent on this, and then it was like, oh, this, and it's just like, ugh. But I seriously, and then based on what I've been seeing with the cartoons they've been doing, the way they handled her in the movies and stuff like that, and stuff like that, it
Amazing
makes
Spider-Man
me
74.
wonder if they're taking her in the way of Deadpool. They're obviously making her an anti-hero in a sense.
They have her as Harley Quinn, but with her Quinzel mind.
mentality. Okay, so
Right,
they finally did have her evolve back.
Right. She's still got the ditzy once in a while, but most of the time she's now a calculating anti-hero type thing now.
J-Rob, your average comic, depending on what it is, and depending on how many pages it is, your average comic can run you anywhere from $3 to $5. There are some that run 7, 8, even 10 if they're thick enough.
If you're going to get like a graphic novel or something.
What, $4.99? Are your Batman titles $3.99 or $4.99 now?
Let's see. Harley well, the Fortnite ones were $4.99. Harley's $4.99.
Yeah,
Batman's
most
$4.99. $4.99.
Yeah. Your DC titles are going to run you about $5 a piece. Your
Catwoman,
Marvel titles.
Catwoman was $5.99. This was the 2021 annual.
Yeah, it's thick book. The more pages it has, the more it costs. Now, your Marvel books, a lot of them will run you $3.99 to $4.99 as well.
Yeah, the Batman Black and White is $5.99.
Yeah, so I mean, depending on what they are, like one of the ones I collect, Spawn, is $2.99. McFarlane's kept it at $2.99 for a long time. He still isn't talking about raising the price. He's got this thing, hold the line at $2.99 type thing.
Yeah, mine are all $4.99 and $5.99.
Spawn Universe was $4.99 or $5.99 because it was a thicker book, and I think the first couple issues of the spinoff series are going to be that. But then he said those are going to go back down to the $2.99 price point as well. But they can range you. They'll range you from $3 to $6 unless you're buying back issues, and then those can range you anywhere from $1 to $150 to thousands of dollars depending on which back issue you look for.
Yeah.
Like if you were into, say you decided you wanted to read the 90s Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man storyline, post Secret Wars. So you're wanting to read 90s Spider-Man, introduction of Venom, all that. Well, most of your books you're going to find are going to be in the dollar bin, a couple bucks, $3, whatever, until you get to like Spider-Man 300, Spider-Man 306. Those key issues that are first introduction of Venom, stuff like that, those can run you $1,000. And the best thing to do as far as getting a comic today, we still got comic shops out there. You just find a comic book store, CVS's.
Yeah, most places a comic book store, and you can even tell them what you're looking for, and they'll pull them for you so you don't miss anything. Because the way it's going now, you have to know which episode is going next. Like, Superman in Action Comics is one story, then that story will continue in the Adventures of Superman, and then it'll the next third book.
That's because DC's annoying.
Yeah, definitely. But I love it. I'm always a Superman, Batman. I used to do a lot of Spider-Man when I was younger, but I have to say, like when you were saying the clone ones, that's when I kind of fell off of Spider-Man for a while.
A lot of people fell off because of the Clone Saga. I loved the Clone Saga.
It was good, but then I just sort of was like, all right, why? It's that purist in me. I'm like, no, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then I just get it in my head, and then I'm like,
Well, what's funny is, Spider-Man's Peter Parker, then you had Ben Parker, Scarlet Spider.
Right.
And yeah, they did the twist where they turn around and say, no, Ben was actually Peter, and Peter was the clone.
Right.
And then they turn around in Spider-Man Revelation and do the twist again to where it wasn't. They lived as though it was, but then when Ben Parker dies and turns to ash after Norman Osborn kills him and reveals to Peter, no, see, this whole situation, the whole thing is because you killed my son during your wedding. And I've been toying with you this whole time. It was amazing, an amazing reveal. It was the Revelations books. Amazing reveal. I loved it. But I mean, it is. But Ben Parker was more like Peter Parker than Peter Parker was. But the character evolves. It's just like with these movies out. I'm not a huge. Everyone loves these Spider-Man movies. Oh yeah, it's awesome. I didn't like High School Spider-Man. I wasn't a fan of High School Spider-Man.
I like
I
college.
like-
I like college Spider-Man.
I like college and post-college Spider-Man. You know, and then we got the Spider-Girl series, which was just amazing. As
His daughter,
wish-
yeah, I got some of those.
But that whole, Mayday Parker series was awesome. There were different parts of it. Everybody's got the things they like and don't like.
Yeah,
But it is 11:36, and I got to work in the morning.
yeah, it's 12:36 for me. I have to pop open at 7 o'clock and watch a movie.
25% finished my HAED.
It's a hate.
I don't know. Hell, Queen, what you talking about?
It's a hate. It's a gigantic painting.
Oh.
Oh,
Heaven and Earth Designs.
Huh?
Heaven and Earth Designs.
Oh, Heaven and Earth Designs. Ah. They're having a diamond painting pop there. All right. Well, we're going to have to go, guys.
yep.
It's late. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know it was a long one. This one was over 2.5 hours. We tried to cut it back, but we had a lot to talk about, and
Yeah, we
us
did.
feeling in a more chipper mood today than maybe last week. I don't know. So,
And Ashley up to let me know if she makes a painting of that one picture. See how it turns out.
she will. But, all right, guys, it's been fun. Catch you next week. Live long and prosper. This is the way.
Right. No face?
Bye-bye.